Did y'all see Dollar Dog Night last night at the Phillies game?
I did.
Dollar Dog Night. This sounds. I love the sound
It
of
was
this. What is
dollar
this?
hot dogs, obviously.
Oh,
the
damn.
lines were crazy long, and then people were just like they were pelting each other in the crowd with them.
Hot dogs.
Yeah.
That's a sausage fest.
That's good, Billy. I do this trivia league. Not the dozen. I'm not very good at it. I get my ass kicked all the time. But they had a 1-day contest with 12 questions. And let me just give it to the room real quick.
All right, let's do it.
2018 NFL Draft. After being selected 10th overall, this quarterback famously declared that there were 9 mistakes made ahead of him. Including in those 9 mistakes were quarterbacks Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and Josh Allen.
That's Lamar Jackson.
Since his selection in the draft, due to his poor play, he has played on 7 teams with little starter
Josh
experience.
Rosen.
Yes.
I forgot. He's an atheist.
Yes.
I forgot about
That
him.
last
He's
part
actually
made
my
it too
cousin.
easy.
Is he really?
Is he like your real cousin?
His mom and my mom grew up together
So no, he's not your cousin.
Did they grow up together like in the same house?
on the same island,
So no, he's not your
and
cousin.
everyone's related.
Okay.
So no, he's not your cousin. That sounds.
2007 season, the Giants went on a deep playoff run, in large part due to their defensive line. Which Giants defensive end tied for the single season sack record, retired after winning Super Bowl?
Michael Strahan.
Yes.
That's a silly
That's
question.
an easy one.
Good Morning America.
Super Bowl brothers, Ravens, 49ers. What are the coaches?
Harbaugh.
Yes. Which defensive coordinator was suspended indefinitely for his role in the
Greg Roman.
New Orleans Saints bounty scandal? Wrong.
No.
Oh, it was what's his name's brother? Rex Ryan's brother, wasn't it?
Nope.
It's not Greg Roman?
It's not.
Oh, wasn't it the? Is it Dr. Heat?
Yeah, but what's his name?
Fuck. Shit.
Is it Greg something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Greg.
Greg.
It's Dr. Heat.
Yeah.
Browns.
It's Greg.
Greg Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see you with the Googles.
I'm not Googling, I'm tweeting.
All right, complete the following sentence by Marshawn Lynch, leading up to the Super Bowl.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't get fined, but they gave you I'm just here so I don't.
I
It's like
gave,
a
the,
Mandela
I
effect
gave the
kinda.
full sentence.
Early 2000s was, no, but you were wrong with the full sentence. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
That's what I
No,
said.
you said won't. Yeah.
Yeah, you said won't.
Yeah, when you
I
get
don't
the
know,
full
I can't
sentence.
recall. That.
And
I don't
My new
recall, but I
example.
don't think that's accurate.
Okay, we'll run the tape back. The early 2000s was a golden era for running backs. Which Kansas City player broke the record for total touchdowns?
Jamal Charles.
Yep.
Total
Priest
touchdowns
Holmes.
by a running back in a season 2003.
Priest Holmes.
Oh.
Yes, Priest Holmes. And then 2019, which player threw for 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions?
James Winston.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
But-
what is this?
It's just, I'm in a trivia league where it's just like, they ask me 5 questions every day. And you're not allowed to, it's like honor system. You're not allowed to look up the answers or Google anything. And then you just have a full day to answer them. And they're pretty difficult questions. If I get like 3 out of, or no, it's 5, I think. It might be 6. If I get 3, it's 6. If I get 3 out of 6 right on a given day, I'm like, that's pretty good.
Big T, could you hand
But
me
these
that
are
tea?
very ezy. This was like a 1-day NFL special that they did.
Who was the only man to survive both Nagasaki and Hiroshima?
Oh, I know this. It's
No,
it's
you
a
don't.
it's a random dude.
Said no, you don't.
No, I watched this on
But
History
this is my
Channel.
point, and this is my point of this fucking podcast. You know all that worthless shit?
Yeah.
This guy survived.
What do you mean worthless?
No, I'm just saying. The fucking
It was worth it just now.
atomic bomb dropped.
That's why I have
he
a job.
got on a fucking train, went to another place, and another
Yeah.
atomic bomb dropped. That's so fucking crazy.
That is.
that
Mr.
nobody knows
Bean.
him. Yeah.
Who is it?
I don't remember his name, but
What
I
is
watched
his-
it
what
on
is-
History
what is his
Channel.
name?
Tsutomu Yamagachi.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
you could have made it up, but yeah.
And he,
Imagine that.
he survived the radiation from both of them?
Yeah, so he was just on. So I guess the blast radius was like 6 miles. So he was like on the 6th mile of like both things. He actually lived to like 93, died of stomach cancer. But imagine that, like,
And he's a marine engineer.
yeah, nobody could fucking like. I just sometimes when I do this, like, I didn't know that guy. I would have went to my grave not knowing who this fucking guy is.
Yeah.
Like, what does somebody have to do for you to remember their fucking name?
Jesus.
You know what I mean?
That-
like
that
you're like,
was
oh, that's
hard.
easy. He's on Good Morning America. This motherfucker survived 2 atomic bombs.
He must have been just like,
That's lit.
Awesome.
he must have thought it had something to do with him.
How is there not a movie about this yet?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. He probably has PTSD, but I wonder if he has PTSD from like one of the bombs more so than the other.
When I was in high school, our coach, I think he was in Nam, And so like there was these like dump trucks right behind our practice facilities, and every now and then they would like boom, boom, boom. They would like make noises and shit. And he would like jump like crazy. And like one time, like we didn't know at first, right? And so we like laugh at him. And then he was like, "You motherfuckers, you don't know why that is." And then he told us the story, and I was like, "God damn, okay,
It makes sense.
yeah."
A friend of ours that we met on the internet, Clue Haywood, I got to hang out with him when I was in Arizona. His dad is a Vietnam veteran, and so he took his dad back to Vietnam a few years ago to just like walk. Apparently, this is a pretty common thing to do.
Oh wow.
For Vietnam vets, is they'll go back and they'll walk around the country and see some of the places that they saw when they were there. And the tour guide that was leading them around had them walk down this path, and then a guy like just jumped out of one of the holes in the ground, one of the old holes that the Viet Cong used to
Come
just
on.
chill in and
That's
wait.
fucked.
Jumped out of the holes just to spook him, and he almost flipped his shit on the guy.
Bruh.
I would have left. I would've
That's
been like,
goofy
yeah.
as
That's the
shit.
worst.
Yeah.
What
but
the
it was
fuck?
and the picture is so funny because the
Ha ha,
guy's
murder.
like poking his head out and smiling. Yeah.
That's silly, dog.
I actually went on a whole internet rabbit hole about those tunnels and the guys who had to go clear the tunnels, and it sounds like the scariest shit ever.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Tunneling in general.
Tunnel
Tunnels.
rats. Yeah.
World War One.
You
Yeah.
can only bring a handgun and a flashlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heights and small compressed places underground, two phobias. Like when you see those videos of those guys spelunking,
Yeah.
like going into caves, like that story of that one guy who got stuck in a crack for 24 hours and
Oh
literally
my
they
God.
couldn't get him out.
Nah.
And then his brother was there and he had to like, they tried to get him out, but like they couldn't, like,
He was
and he
was stuck between
died
the
upside
rocks.
down between two rocks.
Yep.
That terrifies me.
They say that if you have a fear of enclosed spaces, you shouldn't go up in an airplane. Like if you're, let me give some context to this.
Yeah,
if it's
man.
an F-18,
Okay. I'm like, bro,
you
what
should
was-
not go up because it's not the fear of heights. It's the fear of enclosed spaces that'll get you up there. I just got a physical last week, Large,
Did you?
and
How'd
so
you do?
we're on track. I passed.
That's awesome.
That's a physical?
Well,
Congrats.
I
are
told
in
the
order.
doctor, I was like, "Hey, I'm healthy." He's like, "Yeah, you look healthy." Okay,
Oh,
I'll sign off. They took my blood pressure.
okay. You big time.
You get your T levels tested?
I did not know.
I'm not going to spread who, but there's a Barstool employee who recently got his T levels done, and they're atrocious, and you'll never guess who it is.
Does that mean they're low?
Like, yeah, 300. Like, I think
What's
the
the-
limit's 250 before they start replacing your hormones.
This is a HIPAA violation right now, Billy.
Yeah, but he told me.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm not.
He told Billy off air during something, and
Yeah.
then Billy brought it up on air. So I
Okay.
don't know if it's making it into the recording of what that was on, but
It's atrocious. I actually am going to have him on an extra dose, and we're going to talk about how to maximize his T.
Are you sure it's not you?
No, my T levels are amazing.
Okay.
What are your T level?
They're close to 900.
Is that
he
good?
says that shit. I mean, not to brag,
Look,
but
look.
I got some tea.
Hey, I take my vitamin D every day, probiotics. I got a whole stack.
Okay.
So we're going to hopefully help this guy.
All right. I would love to see that, Billy. Thanks for not violating his.
I didn't
his
violate
medical
his HIPAA.
confidentiality. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer, but
I think as long as you don't tell anybody else, it's not HIPAA.
you
You
literally
told
just
other
told
people.
like a million
hundreds
people.
of thousands of people.
Right. But this person told me.
Yeah.
So then it's HIPAA. I'm just, you can spread
You just
that.
the liaison. I'm just.
this is the Michael Scott. It was on company property with company property, so double jeopardy.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Also, there's I think probably a legal precedent that says that a reasonable person would have an expectation of privacy. Telling Billy a secret, you should not
On
have
a live
That is
stream.
fair.
You don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy.
It was not live.
in the spirit of our podcast family, he's the guy right there. But I think everybody has somebody in their family where it's like, if you don't want this to get out, you can't tell them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everybody in my family knows who it's my mother, and she just she knows it. Everybody knows it. She's just a gossiping ass, chatty patty.
Yeah, you gotta keep your cards close to the vest around certain people. All right, welcome back to Macro Dosing. We've got the entire crew live in the studio today. Arian is in the studio, flew in yesterday,
Yes, yesterday.
got in yesterday. We also have Large, recurring
My
guest.
dog.
What's up, guys?
Large in the
dog.
studio.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, of course. Going to talk to you about some Japanese history today.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get into that.
I'm 3 every night, by the way.
Every night?
Yeah, I go to sleep with 3
It's so good to fall asleep, right?
I'm 51, gonna be 52 this year, and I've never been a vape guy. So I started doing the gummies, and it just takes too long. And I'm fat, so there's never like a set time. So now I'm a vape guy every night out my bathroom window like I'm a kid.
Love it.
Yeah.
Do you keep that from the family?
Delta 9O. Just from the kids.
Yeah, smart.
Recently saw I didn't read the full article, but I saw a study from a science outlet that I follow that said vaping has been linked to cardiac arrest in like 30 and 40-year-olds. And so like there's been like an influx of those, and vaping has been loosely linked to it.
Probably the nicotine vapes. Nothing that 3G would sell.
Like Billy just right away goes to why.
Yeah, if that's the case, then this is a great case study here at Barstool Sports. We'd have people like 30-year-olds vaping. Yeah, that's basically everybody that works here.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. I didn't read the full article. Not that interested, but it just shook me.
I was at my bodega this morning. I was buying some green tea, and I went up to the guy, and the guy's always trying to sell me on Kratom because I asked him about Kratom. So I'm like, who comes in and buys
What's
it?
Kratom?
It's basically like CBD for heroin.
Okay.
Kind of, yeah. It's like it's a plant, and you can get an extract from it. And some people swear by it. Joe Rogan's a big Kratom fan.
KB too, right? Was it
KB, yeah.
KB was addicted.
He was heavily into it.
KB's a case study of why Kratom shouldn't be. I mean, apparently people come in and buy a ton of it, and they're just like they're coming in itching like they're an addict.
Yeah,
Low key.
they have the
Kratom.
they have the pills that have like the grinded up plant or whatever.
K or C?
K.
KRATOM.
Yeah, the pills that have the flour or whatever they make out of it.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan does that, and he talks about how you take it and you get like a little buzz. You continue on your day. They also have the extract, which I tried one time, actually a couple times, and it does feel like you're on a pain pill.
Yeah, like
and
on
so
a perk.
yeah, I had it, and I was like, this is dangerous if you can just buy this at a gas station because it feels like I'm taking an opiate. And then I took it again when I think it was after I had a kidney stone, and I was trying to get rid of some of the pain. Large, how are your kidneys doing?
Good.
How's your penis?
Penis is good. Yeah, they took the the thing out, the stent or whatever it was.
Oh,
Remember
jeez.
that? And I taped it. I was laying down the angle. My wife had hid her phone. She was in the room with me for some reason, and you could just see like my soft white underbelly, and then that paper thing over it, and the guy go in and pull it out like a strand of spaghetti, and you hear me have this like low like one of the, not like a high pitched bitchy thing, but like
Did you
like
nut?
No. So and it it pulled it out. It's fucking ridiculous. And he gave it to me, and I made it into a little friendship bracelet. It's honestly it's this big.
No.
Like I thought it was a stent when he said it. I thought the stent that was going to keep it open was like one of those little ones, but it was a big long piece of
and you had
spaghetti.
kidney stones is why you had to do this?
Yeah, I had a kidney stone. It blocked my my right kidney, and so nothing was going in. I had the one kidney, so they had to go in right away and go get it. They couldn't like do the lithotripsy or anything like that. And so when they were in there, they had to put a stent in to keep it
Glad they got it, man.
thing open. Yeah, the worst pain in my life, and I have gout too. I'm a fucking mess. But the worst pain in my life was that kidney. When it went on me,
Yeah.
it was bad.
So when they remove things from your body, that is apparently like a sensation that more people pass out from a procedure like that than most other procedures. So I had a pin, actually 2 pins in my middle finger, and when they pulled that out, the sensation of something exiting your body is such like a crazy, you can't even really describe it, but it just makes you super lightheaded. And I've heard that obviously like with that type of, that's probably like a million times worse.
I think when you pass one, particularly like when you pass one, there's like a euphoric feeling that you can never chase. Like you can chase it for the rest of your life and you're not going to get it. Like sometimes you get the brain freeze from ice cream.
Oh yeah.
Like right after the brain freeze, there's that euphoria when the brain freeze goes away. And I've been chasing that for decades too. I can't seem to get that.
Well,
in
pain
kind of
and
pill
pleasure
form.
are really close together.
Yeah.
Like I like when you have you ever had like when you urinate and it feels really good sometimes. That's pretty close to
Take a big shit.
Yeah.
It feels really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I had the hives, the Toradol, when it went away in a second, that was euphoric.
Yeah. Instant relief.
Yeah.
I had something crazy happen the other day. Yeah, what, Billy?
Oh wait, I forgot to tell the end of the story. We were talking about vapes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then he was trying to sell me on these vapes that make you horny.
Did you get some?
I'll get them on my way home today.
You should pick up some horny vapes.
I was like, literally, he was like, one for men, one for women. It's
Have
like
y'all
a
seen the
vapes.
horny chocolate on TikTok?
Oh
No.
shit.
Oh, you haven't? It's this some brand that you tag guess it's like an aphrodisiac, and you're supposed to split it, and each person takes one, and then like you just want to bang. Apparently,
Are aphrodisiacs real? Like I've heard a lot of like oysters and shit, but like,
Yeah.
is it really actually for real?
I
Is there
think
science behind it.
Yeah, I think there's some science behind it. It might increase blood flow. That might be part of it.
Oysters are just because of a high level of zinc, which is good for testosterone. Basically, all the aphrodisiacs that are like foods are just high in different amino acids or minerals that you can supplement for.
I just thought an oyster was because it was kind of like a genital.
No, that's Rocky Mountain oysters.
Got it. Tomatoes, they're an aphrodisiac as well.
See what I'm saying? Like, there's so many I've heard of, and it's just like a whole bunch of shit. You just go through a day randomly, regularly, and just have like 7 different aphrodisiacs. And I've never felt any kind of like I love oysters, and I've
Yeah.
never ate oysters and been like, "Hey, yo," you know what I mean?
I agree. I agree. Oysters are, when you eat them, it's the opposite of horny. Whatever that sensation is, you're swallowing like a big booger.
You got to eat a lot of East Coast cold water big oysters, like Blue Points.
How many oysters are we talking before?
We're talking about a dozen.
Before sundress season starts to rear its head.
Maybe it's just because people eat oysters when it's nice outside.
That's what I'm saying. Is an actual? I'm about to look it up. But is there actually science? Like when you eat this increases the libido? Would it be?
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there have been some studies.
Ginseng is a big one.
Yeah.
And then rhino horn is just keratin, so it's just what your nails are
Tell me,
made out of.
you mean like the horn of a rhino?
Yeah, that's what they're doing with rhino horns. They're grinding them up. And no, seriously, that's why they're
No, I don't know.
they're
It's just
getting
wild.
cut into
Like
extinction.
man.
Shark fin soup is the same way.
Yeah.
I think that's probably an aphrodisiac.
Snake heart, I actually believe works.
I think these are just things that are cool to eat. And so you eat them and you feel like a man afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just ate the devil. Yeah, of course I'm gonna fuck. Yeah.
How many oysters can you put down? Like you say a dozen. I don't think that's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, people can.
Adam
usually don't get
Richmond
more
was
than
just on Part of My Take. He
Right.
said he
that's
ate,
my guy, bro.
he ate 180 oysters.
That's
in
the-
one sitting.
Yeah.
That's the Acme oyster thing.
Yep.
So
Did you
it's
did
15
you ask
dozen.
him about the aphrodisiac aspect of it?
No, he said that there was a woman that he was hanging out with later on that night, and a guy came up to him because he had seen Adam Richmond do the challenge and was like, "Be careful, this guy just ate 180 oysters. Like he's probably horny as shit." I think there's probably a law of diminishing returns on that, where if you eat 100 oysters, it probably makes you very unhorny. But maybe if you
Cancels out the.
I think I could sit down and eat 30 oysters if I had to.
Oh, I could
I
wash.
think if they was out of the shell, you know what I mean. I think that's the thing. Like it gets to the point where you get tired of like dressing it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can eat them out of the shell though, because if I gave you, like, let's say you said I could do 50 out of shell, so I just gave them to you in a fucking bucket.
Yeah.
I don't like. I couldn't tackle that. I need like something to break it up. I saw the Acme Oyster Challenge when I was in New Orleans, and I don't know if I could do that much, but I think I could do. I think I could do like maybe 100, 120.
Damn.
You know, I think so. I just looked it up. A single oyster, the meat of the oyster, is about less than an ounce. It might be like 0.3
Right. Yeah, it's real
ounces.
small.
So
But
if
you know what I mean? Like if you get it all together, it's just almost like a bucket of phlegm. You know what I
It's
mean?
the
They can eat the
subs-
individuality.
yeah.
and it's also a little more liquidy, so it's like that's probably about 60 ounces of oyster, which like compared to a 60-ounce steak,
Right.
like
Yeah. You don't have to chew them. That's good.
I
A lot
can't
of
eat
times
oysters without Tabasco sauce though.
a little Tabasco.
Cocktail
in it.
I
sauce.
need it. No, that's
Cocktail?
for shrimp.
with
No, I know.
with horseradish.
Oysters too.
Yeah.
I've never had it with
It's
oysters.
good.
It's good.
I
right?
do
I
both.
thought that was just for the shrimp because usually it comes like in a platter or whatever.
Yeah. No, it's
Damn, I didn't know that was
you've
for
been-
oysters.
You've been like, don't. That sauce is not.
Yes,
for
for
these
shrimp.
oysters.
That's shrimp
Yeah.
sauce.
Yeah, it's
Damn,
really,
have I been fucking
it's
up?
really good on oysters. I also like just a squirt of lemon and then
Yeah,
put
easily.
some of the horseradish on there.
See, I've never done horseradish.
It's good.
When I was little, I tried horseradish and almost threw up, and so I have never tried it since.
I love horseradish.
It is good. That's wasabi, right?
Blast your nose.
Yeah.
It's
St.
wasabi?
Elmo's.
Well, wasabi is from a horseradish root. It's a little bit different.
Oh,
but there's
I
a-
love wasabi.
Yeah, there's a restaurant in Indianapolis called St. Elmo's.
Mm.
See that? And they
Yeah.
grind their own fresh horseradish, and you can see them in there. They're wearing like the double carbon filter masks because if you breathe it in as you're grinding that shit, it burns your lungs out. Like it's and that I'd only been there once. It is the high test horseradish. Like the stuff that we get is that stepped on shit.
Yeah,
You know what I mean,
no, it's
the real
legit.
deal. It'll burn you out.
It'll
Yeah,
blow out your whole sinus.
yeah. It's
We
very
go there
good.
for the combine every year, and so
Okay.
every time we're in Indy, we have one of those shrimp cocktails, and it does clear you out immediately.
unbelievable,
it's
right?
strong shit. It's
Yeah.
it's unlike any other cocktail sauce that you've ever had.
Damn.
I didn't know that they grinded their own. I
Yeah.
just assumed that they bought it from somewhere. Indy's a weird place to just order shrimp too. It's like probably the farthest away from any body of water in America.
Yeah.
Nah, it's by the lakes, ain't it?
Yeah, the Great Lakes, but there's no shrimp in the Great Lakes.
That's true. I wouldn't know. I'm not going in that motherfucker.
Yeah, they got like haddock or whatever up there.
Mhm.
Perch, a lot of perch in the Great Lakes. Yeah.
Look at Maddie with the one-offs today. Okay.
Mhm.
I ate a lot of fruit.
So before we get into Japan discussion, the other day I was walking down 6th Avenue in the morning, right?
What a way to start a story. I'm excited about this.
And there's a lot of people at 6th Avenue. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning, pretty crowded, people walking by left and right. And there's this woman that's walking towards me on 6th Avenue, and she's got a nice roller suitcase. She's a little bit on the older side. I would say probably maybe 60 years old, something like that. She's got a pretty bad wig on, but it's she's a relatively normal looking person besides the wig. And there's a guy that walks past me towards this woman. And as she's got, I don't know, like a newspaper in her hand, her roller suitcase in the other. And as this guy is passing this woman, he takes $5 out of his wallet and he just stops and he just hands it to her. And he's like, "Here you go." And the woman just stops and looks at it, and the guy just keeps walking. And the woman's so confused and puzzled. She's like looking at him, looking at the money, trying to figure out what just went on. This poor woman got mistaken for a homeless person just because she was walking down the street and she had bad hair at the time. And I felt so bad for her.
I've done that before.
You have?
Yeah.
You've given money to somebody that wasn't homeless?
Yeah, this dude was he was standing at a stoplight. He was just waiting for it to change, and I pulled up, and I always try to make it a point to give him money. It's just how I feel, and so I gave him a 20, and then he looks at it, he goes, he said, "I'm not homeless, but I'll take it." He's like, I just came from work, bro, and I was like, "Shit."
Oh man. I mean,
He was like, "It's 20." I was like, "I don't care."
Your
And I
heart's
was
in
like,
the
"Well,
right
shit."
place.
Yeah, I was like, "Well, enjoy it, man."
Do you want to hear something kind of funny that was occurring around here with homeless people? I think Big T. Did we talk about this?
I'm
So
not familiar.
There was
no.
a couple people.
Not spoken about.
there
whatever
there
this
was
is.
you'll know what I'm talking about.
Big T is so funny, dog. Oh my god.
So there was a couple people with signs and roller bags who had ended up around this area, Penn Station. Probably had just came from the airport, but they're saying just left Ukraine, need to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
You remember seeing those signs, right? So they were getting a lot of money from people on the street. Anyway, did you notice the other homeless people who said that they were also from Ukraine who were putting signs up because
No.
they saw how well the Ukrainian refugees were doing?
It's the new scam.
Yeah, but so you had people who were definitely not Ukrainian saying, just got away from Ukraine, please donate.
I'm okay with that though.
Yeah, whatever the new trend is.
Yeah.
Whatever's making money. It's
Just get it how you
it's
live.
marketing.
Yeah,
Right?
He saw what was working.
Yeah, it's marketing.
Because if you're at that point in your life, it's just like you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
That don't even bother me.
Yeah.
I did see a sign one time. This dude was like, "I'm not gonna lie, I just want beer."
Mhm.
I gave him money.
Respect.
It's
My
what it is.
favorite one, I saw a guy in Nashville one time. His sign said, "Need money to rebuild Jurassic Park." I said, "You know what? I'll give you a couple dollars."
I like that. There was a woman that was always on the corner next to my house when I was in Austin, and she had one leg. She was on crutches, and she would hold up a sign all the time that just said, "On my last leg." And people absolutely love that.
If you
Give her a
make
lot of
me
money.
laugh, if you provide me a service, I'm willing to pay for that.
Yeah.
Hey,
What about this one? I bet you $1 you can't hit me with a penny. I saw that a bunch in Austin too.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one.
What was that, Billy?
Hmm?
What were you gonna say?
No, we had a homeless guy who just would run up to people and yelling, and you could tell that he was a little bit of like a schizophrenic, and he'd just yell up and yell for cigarettes, and then as soon as he got a cigarette and started smoking it, he'd like chill the fuck out.
That's cool.
People will know this guy in North Jersey.
Yeah, I used to always like it when they'd have a homeless person would have a dog with them, That's a good strategy too. Have a real cute dog that just follows you around.
That one doesn't work with me.
Yeah, I know it doesn't, but most people see that and they're like, "Oh, well, I'm buying dog food. I'm not buying human food, so I feel good about donating money." Yeah.
Wild, dog. Oh my god.
There was another dude that had a dog, a cat, and a rat. And he had trained these animals to just chill and coexist with each other. So the dog would be laying down. It was a pit bull, I think, or some sort of mix. And then the cat would be lying on top of the dog on its back. And then the rat would be lying on top of the cat's back. I don't know how he trained these animals to do that.
Beautiful.
The dude is, yeah, it is beautiful. The guy's like obviously very skilled at animal handling. And so I would just give that guy money all the time.
Did you
That's
see
impressive.
that there was a story of like there was some dude who was like he abused animals and it got out in his little town and the whole town went to his house. Like it was like 100 people outside of his house like demanding action because he like hit a dog or whatever.
Like a video came out of him
Yeah, it was
punching
like,
a dog.
somebody sent me. It was like I like dogs, but this is kind of wild.
They
Yeah.
went at Hasbulla pretty hard.
Yeah.
Oh,
For
yeah.
punching his
Don't
cat.
fuck with cats.
Yeah,
Yeah, rule number 1 of the internet.
Yeah.
yeah. Don't fuck with cat. I think he talked his way out of it.
What do you say?
I couldn't really get it, but I think he said, I love my animals more than I love anybody here. Like he'd said that at almost press conferences. And when you look back on it, I don't think he punches too hard. Hasbulla. I don't mean to
Right.
judge or something like that. So I think like a little this might not have been that bad.
Uh-huh.
But yeah. So I think he's not canceled. They're very close though.
Well,
He was pulling its ears.
to his
Yeah, I
credit,
think yeah.
It was a little. He was punishing the cat.
what did the cat do?
Apparently.
Yeah.
We don't know. There was rumors that he broke Ramadan.
The cat broke Ramadan.
Yeah.
He got to
Oh.
know better.
I saw that
Oh.
on comment guys section.
Okay.
Comment
So
guy
somebody
section.
was making a joke.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's good.
I don't know, but I was trying to figure out myself, and that it occurred at several places.
The cat broke Ramadan, bro.
The cat was eating during the day,
To be
apparently.
fair to Hasbulla, he might love the cat more than he loves other people because that's how Hasbulla treats everyone. He sees somebody, he just punches him in the
Yeah,
face.
he's very physical.
Yeah, he's a physical man, and you get hit by Hasbulla, and you're like, oh, that's cute, and then he hits his cat. His cat's probably like, oh, that's adorable. Look at this little guy.
Oh, he's the little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen him on Mike Tyson's podcast?
No.
He was. Oh yeah, he thought he was a kid.
Tell him, brother.
Tyson thought that Hasbulla was a child.
Yeah, so he's like, come here, man. He's like, like that type of shit. That shit
And he
was
hates that.
Yeah.
Shit was fun, but it's Mike Tyson.
I know.
though.
Yeah.
What can you do? Yeah.
That shit was
He
funny,
hates
man.
being lifted up.
Yeah. Didn't Caleb lift him up?
Caleb, it told me that he was. I don't know if I'm blowing up Caleb's spot, but I think he was very nasty to Caleb. Like even like joking around. I think he might have stuck him with a pin or something like that. Like, I think he is a little bit of a physical dude.
Yeah.
But again, like I think if you spend your whole life having people just kind of pick you up and treat you like a Teddy Ruxpin, you just start to get physical.
Yeah.
You know, he took it out on his cat.
He carries a lot of knives. You ever see the videos of him? He's just out in the street and he just like whips out a knife.
He's definitely killed somebody before, right?
Somebody small.
In their sleep.
We did Rough and Rowdy. I'm a licensed referee now.
Yep.
I told you. So it was outside of West Virginia. We were doing it in Providence, and so they said, even though I'm only licensed in West Virginia, I'm allowed to do one fight in Providence, but they wanted it to be like a smaller fight, and so they had me do the midgets. Like they did it like literally. It was just, they're like, so they had me in there with the dwarves.
Yeah.
That
You
was
look
a little bit too literal.
you looked huge.
Yeah, there's a big dichotomy between us.
How tall are you, Large?
6'5", a little over.
Must be nice.
That's too big to fly.
Yeah. Yeah, so your head wouldn't fit inside the cockpit,
Yeah,
right?
thank God.
Yeah.
So I'm out on that. And Big Cat was too tall, wasn't too heavy. I got to make that distinction.
So I talked to the guy at the Blue Angels.
Yeah.
Big Cat is too heavy to fly, but he could lose that weight.
Yes, I couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't lose the height. You can't
I
shave
could
the
not.
inches.
Is this in a certain plane?
in the F-18? Yeah.
What's the weight restriction?
I think it's 230,
235. I think.
235. Yeah. So I don't know what Big Cat's at right now, but if he's above 235, he could get down there in a week or two.
What is the F-18?
It's a Hornet.
Top
Gun. Top Gun. It's what Tom Cruise flew in Top
okay.
Gun.
Oh,
They all
yeah.
flew on those
the
missions.
newer ones. The F-14
Yep.
was the one where he hijacked on the enemy territory. Look at me.
Yep, the
knowing
Tomcat.
shit.
Boom.
The
Okay, yeah.
two-seater, yeah.
But I think they weigh you with your gear, like with your flight suit on too. So I would have hated for Big Cat to get down at 235, then all of a sudden put on a
Oh, and he's
flight
still
suit
can't
and
go.
shoes. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Also, if something happens to the pilot, there's no chance Big Cat could land a Hornet. I've got experience.
can't.
I've landed on an aircraft carrier 3 times.
Do you think
the
actually,
simulator.
like, if let's say we on a 747,
Yeah.
pilot goes down, and it's like, is there anybody here that can fly a plane? And my guy can right here. Do you really think you could?
So my strategy on this is because I've thought about this. I might have even talked about it. But if they ask that on a 747, I wait. I wait about 30 seconds. If nobody else
We
raises
got a
their hand,
plan.
then I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can do it. I'm very skilled on the simulator, and as long as we're not landing on a like an aircraft carrier, it's going to be a fully functional airport with a long landing strip. I think that I could. And Chaps wrote a blog about this earlier in the week about how men are delusional.
Yeah.
And they think that they did some study where they played like a 3-minute video, and they said, okay, here are the main steps to landing. There's slowing down, there's reducing your altitude, and then there's stopping on the runway. And it was pretty much just basically that. It gave no real instructions. And the vast majority of men that watched it said, yeah, I could land this plane. Right after that, they definitely couldn't. Most men can't.
Yeah.
I think I could do it. I would get up in the cockpit if I was on the radio with somebody. I could figure out how to do it. I think I could.
You'd have to show them a picture of your setup to convince them.
Yeah,
Because they're gonna be like, the simulator, like, what, you're just using the keyboard?
Do you have a
You're like,
picture?
no.
I don't have a picture on me. I should have one. I
You should,
keep one
yeah.
just in case.
That would be more convincing. If you're like, look at the setup, it's basically the same thing.
My control stick is a little bit different than a 747. I've got all these missile buttons. Actually, probably more complicated to do what I do than land a 747. I got missile buttons, so I grab like the controller or whatever they call it, the yoke, and I'd be like looking for the AMRAAM missile launch button on there. I'm like, I can't do this. I need to have
Wait.
something.
I don't think a 747 is a joystick.
747 is a yoke.
Yeah, so it's like a
Yoke. It's
Like a
like
wheel.
it's like the two.
yeah.
It's got the 2 sticks on it that you fly. I believe. Now there's probably pilots listening that are like, "Yo, PFT has no idea what's
yeah.
talking
You know
about."
what? I don't think you can land this plane.
The Airbus has a side stick, which is like a joystick that you have on the side, kind of like you have in the F-16. But I'm pretty sure I'd say if I was in charge of landing a plane and we're at 30,000 feet, we're going, I don't know, 530 knots, whatever, and you give me, we're like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from landing, I think I could get it on the ground. I really did. Now, I don't know if I could land it, but I could get it on the ground. The plane would end up on the ground.
I'm looking at a 747 cockpit right now.
Mm-hmm.
I have no ego here. I don't know. We're dying if it's up to me. But as I'm just scouring over this image, you don't think it's time to update this shit? This looks old.
It looks
man.
like a bus, doesn't it?
Like I'm just like nothing is digital. Like, and maybe that's better. I don't know. But
Well-
it just the buttons look from the 70s.
That's because it's a 747. So most planes
that
that
carries more people. That
most planes that you fly in now are like 777s. Or
777.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up.
You know, I'm kind of fine with it being, you know how our nuclear codes and stuff are all like on old technology that just is so old it can't be hacked?
Yeah.
I'm kind of fine with the planes being like complicated and technical, so like not anybody could hijack it.
Yeah.
And you're like, you really got to go to school for it.
I agree. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think at the end of the day, the basics are the same. If you're landing a plane, you have to put the flaps down. You have to reduce speed, which controls your altitude to a certain extent. And then you just have to, just got to put it on the ground. Just put that fucking bird down. I think I could do it.
It might happen, like the F-18. Like, there's a very good chance your pilot goes, something happens to them.
Yeah,
and you'll
yeah.
have to put her down.
I hope to God there's a Chinese weather balloon that's up in the air that day. Oh, that thing.
So perfect.
If it flies, it dies. I'm going to knock that shit out.
See, this is better, but it still looks a little 80s to me. Like maybe even early 90s. I don't know. I just feel like I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of like new cars being built, like in the decks. I just feel like we should start implementing that.
You want it more like a Tesla?
No, not like a Tesla. Teslas are. I have a Tesla. I've had a Tesla for years, since 2017, and I'm not like one of those fuck Elon guys at all costs. Like, so it has nothing to do with him personally. I don't really like him as a human, but his cars just aren't built well. Like, they're just not like you're sold. It's luxury, but it's just not a luxury car. I've had luxury cars. Luxury car. Tesla is just, it's like a cheaper version of a luxury car.
Getting in and out is a real problem for me.
Me too.
If I have like an Uber or a Lyft that comes, and I don't know, once a month or something, it'll be a Tesla that gets sent out. I just can't get into the car and I can't get out of it. The handle it sucks.
Well, yeah, you got to press it, and it's a little goofy. But I'm just talking about like manufacturing job, like little shit that is just very cheaply made.
Yeah.
You could tell it's not like quality material. That's my biggest issue with it. And like everybody who has Teslas that I know of that have had it for years has the same kind of complaints. It's more like it just feels like a really heavy, big go-kart that kind of like has little things that go wrong with it all the time.
What about the Cybertruck?
It's not even made yet, is it?
Yeah, they haven't put it out.
They haven't. That thing is such a piece. It looks so ugly.
But remember when Elon was the only one driving around and he like hit something in LA?
Yeah. And I remember when he was doing the showcase of it, and he like threw a brick at it to show how indestructible
One of the funniest
it was.
internet moments of all time.
That to me, when I saw that, I was like, Elon's a genius. He did that as a marketing stunt. But there's no chance, right?
Well, I think that a lot of Elon fans think that that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
The excuse that came out was that they hit it with a sledgehammer, which hit the side of the window pane, which compromised the integrity of the window. So when they threw
Just say you didn't get it right. You know what I'm saying? All this shit is goofy, man.
That's a pretty big part of
but they hit it with a sledgehammer once.
on camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like the 7th time they hit it.
That truck is just so gross looking.
It
I
doesn't
don't even
look
know
good.
who out there is demanding a car like that.
If Elon Musk was to give it to me for free, I'd absolutely take it.
I would not. I'm a Silverado guy. Yeah. I would if Elon gave me a Cybertruck, I would spit on it. I'd spit on it. I'd just leave it where it was.
Major cap. But did you see Elon hosted a Twitter space last night? Or he got interviewed by BBC?
I saw he was about to do it, but
No, he did it.
What happened?
It was like over 2 million people that tuned in. I can only tune in for a little bit. It was I don't know. Basically, they were just kind of, it wasn't really grilling him. They just kind of having a lighthearted conversation about everything about Twitter. All quote unquote legacy blue check marks. There, it's going away on 420.
Mm-hmm.
So again, a silly date to do it, but so that's going away on 420. He's trying to create a little bit of a revenue. They're anticipating like 100 million, I think he said, which isn't a significant amount.
How many people are signed up for Twitter right now?
I couldn't.
500 million?
I couldn't tell you.
That
Are you talking about
sounds like a lot.
in general?
Yeah. How many people how many different people have accounts on Twitter right now? What's their user base?
That does sound like a
Let
lot.
me look it up.
Well, that may be like they may have that many
450
accounts.
million active users since 2022.
That's active.
450 million monthly active users as
That's
of
that's
way
up to-
more than
yeah.
I would have
That's
guessed.
up to-
And he's expecting that 25% of them are going to sign up for Twitter Blue.
I don't know what he's expecting, but I guess the mathematically then that's what he said. That's what, because he asked him what kind of revenue are you looking for the Twitter Blue sign up thing. And then he started talking about what his logic just doesn't make sense to me. And this is where he loses me a lot. But when the dude asked him, do you think that having to pay for it kind of negates the purpose of it? Like, there's a lot of news outlets that have came out and said that they're not going to pay for, like New York Times said that we're not going to pay for the legacy, the blue thing. And he's like, he just like kind of says, well, news media in general, because the dude's whole point was like, do you think that will kind of feed into the misinformation aspect of news? Like, this is the point of legacy, or not legacy, of blue check marks. And he was like, well, the media is responsible for so much misinformation now. And it's just like, bro, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, none of it makes any sense, but more power to you. I ain't paying for that shit. You paying for it?
I don't think so.
Did you see
Billy is.
NPR's quitting Twitter?
Yep.
Why?
Because they added a little disclaimer under their header. It says government funded media, which is
state affiliate,
which is true.
Yeah.
But they're like, we can't believe that anyone would undermine our editorial integrity, this, that, and the other. So they claim they're leaving Twitter.
They should have a note. It shouldn't say government affiliated or state funded media. It should just say boring. They should just have a mark next to it.
They are
Boring,
government funded?
This news comes from a boring
Yeah, it's
news
National
source.
Public Radio.
It's a very small amount. They get most of their money from.
But is it like
from the fundraising drive when they're like,
It's like Channel 13.
It's like
yeah,
PBS.
tote bag.
Yeah.
It's
so it's like
people
grants
pay.
and stuff like that. It's not actual like you were paying to keep you on.
No, it's a very, very small percentage.
But see, and see, even that is disingenuous because unless he's implying that it's like propaganda for the state, is that what he's saying?
That's the general idea.
I
yeah.
think
See, that's
they're
silly.
they're saying that. I don't know what the purpose of putting that is, but I think that's what they're saying, that like we reject this insinuation.
And I think they should, honestly. I think that's a good move on their part because that's, to me, just as an outsider, that's what it looks like Elon is insinuating. Is this is a state affiliate, like a Russian network where it's like this is state propaganda, whereas like then you're insinuating like the station says nothing bad about the state, or their agenda is, it could align with I think it could have a a Venn diagram where they have aligning values, but to insinuate it's state, it to me it sets a silly precedent to do that on a social media network.
It's definitely it's antagonizing them a little bit. It's like poking them, but I mean, again, it's NPR, so
I also just
boring.
noticed, so New York Times has no verification whatsoever on Twitter right now. Like I know like Barstool and Brands have the gold check mark.
yeah.
They have just nothing.
I also think that he took away their check mark.
Oh, I didn't
Because
know that.
New York Times said that they were not going to pay for Twitter
Yeah.
Blue, and so Elon was like, "Fine, I'll just take away your check mark."
That's another thing about that cat.
So-
He's so ego driven. Like
So accounts like, granted, the New York Times is fake news, but like it's still the New York Times. So is like Obama not going to be verified if he doesn't pay for Twitter Blue?
Nope.
I think what's going to happen is that Elon he's like scaring people into buying the blue check mark, and he's going to realize that there is some value in having verified accounts, like celebrities being verified, to be like, oh, this is the real
Right.
The Rock. It's not an impersonator or whatever. So I think he's trying to scare people, and then once the rubber hits the road, he's going to leave a lot of those legacy blue check marks up. I think he even said, or somebody from Twitter said, that the biggest media companies or entertainment companies are still going to have top 10,000. The top 10,000 are still going to keep their check marks. So who knows? Who knows? But it's definitely, as we get further and further down the AI rabbit hole, where deep fakes are becoming more and more realistic looking, there has to be some way that you can verify that, okay, this came from the real source. Did you listen to the Joe Rogan
I was just going to
podcast?
ask if you saw that. I haven't listened to it, but I saw it.
The one with him and Steve Jobs.
It's the one with Joe Rogan and the guy from
Sam Altman.
Sam
Oh, yeah,
Altman
no.
from was it Google AI?
Yeah.
He's the OpenAI CEO,
OpenAI,
which
yeah.
is the ChatGPT people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did a fake podcast that was programmed by ChatGPT, and it sounds exactly like Joe Rogan interviewing somebody. It's crazy.
Wow.
So
they had a I followed this cat who's like a Grammy winning producer named Hit Boy. And he made a song, a beat, and they used Kanye AI to put a verse on it. It was fucking insane, dog. He snapped.
it sounded like Kanye.
Yeah, he wrote it and sounded like shit. He snapped.
Kanye singing country songs in AI is a big thing on TikTok right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it any
Like,
good?
like Kanye singing Zach Brown band songs. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
So I was talking to an artist last night. This woman paints for a living, right? She's really talented, and
Nice.
she was. I have this app where it's like AI generated images, and it comes with like a minute, so I could do like pink fluffy unicorn dancing on a rainbow, and it'll make a composite of it, which is really cool, right? My kids love it. It's really dope. And I asked her what she thought about it. She's like, it's theft. And I'm like, why? How's it theft? They're making it up. I was like, they're using images from the internet from actual artists as a collection of database as a reference point. And I had never thought about it from that aspect before. And I can't really find a reason out of that reasoning where it doesn't exist unless it has existing artists as reference points to draw from.
It's stealing
Which
from everybody.
Yes. And that in itself to me isn't very ethical when you think about it.
Yeah. But counterpoint, you can find some cool stuff.
No, I mean, I still like look at this fluffy ass unicorn, bro. It's fucking so cute.
Yeah.
Last night during the Timberwolves game, I wanted to put out a funny picture of a wolf, and so I just Googled wolf smoking a cigarette, and it came up like first hit on Google Images was this like it looked like it was an AI rendered wolf smoking a cigarette, and I tweeted it out, and within about 5 minutes, all these other AI art accounts started replying to me being horny about the wolf. Like I was getting replies from these different avatars that had different animals with like bushy tails and shit being like, hey, what's up? You want to talk?
Really?
Oh,
I don't know if they were attracted
no, that's
to
not AI. Those are furries.
Yeah, but there were also AI art accounts.
Huh?
Yeah,
'Cause
I think it was both. I think
got-
there's probably a big overlap there.
After I was
That's a
Chief
sick-
Saholic.
That's a great fluffy
Look
unicorn.
at that fucking unicorn.
It's a
I
great,
would like
and
to
that's
see it.
that's
Let's-
fake.
let's send it-
It's
send it-
not. Well, I mean, is it fake? It's on your phone.
It's a deep question.
It's
Yeah.
it's amazing.
It
And
looks
it's like,
Oh, that's gorgeous.
and how can I tell my kids not to use this thing when they can make shit like that?
Yeah.
You
looks
know
like
what I
a
mean?
cotton candy unicorn.
I want to
point.
eat it.
I went down an animal sex rabbit hole.
Now we're
literally.
talking large.
That's a lifestyle.
We had the person who had made Deep Throat, the movie Deep Throat.
Yep.
Okay.
His son, the guy is dead, so his son, it's like the 50th anniversary Deep Throat. They're trying to get into the Library of Congress and stuff like that, as because it was such a groundbreaking porn. So we all watched it together, and then for Twisted History, we didn't do this as like Boy Scouts. And so the guy came in. He was very, very endearing. It was a good story and whatever. But Linda Lovelace, the star of it, she had done a couple of videos where she had fucked a dog, and it got to the point where we were talking about PTSD. At the end of her life, Linda Lovelace was unable to say the word dog. So if she was like walking by one, she'd be like, "Get that DOG away from me." And I mean, it kind of goes away from the pink fluffy unicorns.
Right.
But I'm a week away from watching Linda Lovelace blow and bang a dog.
Wait,
So that's where I'm at right now.
Damn.
Yeah.
there's video of this?
Yeah, so Linda Lovelace, who's the star of Deep Throat, her husband was like this real abusive pimp. And so he used to kind of like pimp her out. Sammy Davis Jr., banged her a bunch of times and stuff like that. And she had one video out where she's making love to a not a
Making love
German
is such a nice way to put
thanks. Not to a German shepherd, the other type of shepherd.
It's the way he says
Australian?
Yeah, a bunch of dudes bang her out, and then she actually made love to a
Dog.
No.
Sweet, sweet love.
So everyone's seen that video that's gone around like, oh my God, this girl from this rival high school like banged the dog.
Everyone's
has
seen it. We've
Not
all-
seen that.
we've
video.
all
in
seen
the
it.
internet age, do you guys know what
How
I'm
would you
talking
think
about?
I am?
Right.
I don't think anyone knows what you're talking
But
about.
when I put this whole thing out, I had a bunch of people reach out to me, sending me other videos of other dog fucking videos. So I'm on the list now.
So now,
Yeah,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's not
you're the
even
go-to
legal, is it?
person.
It
It's
is.
not
So there's no. I forget. We did a whole thing on bestiality once, and it differs from state to state. But some of the reasoning is that you're taking advantage of the animal, even though the animal seems like they're enjoying it.
Yeah.
It'd be the same as like, you know what I mean, like taking someone who's like mentally incapacitated and banging them too.
The dog
Wow,
can't
wait.
consent.
Yeah. Well, certain breeds of dogs, Jersey Jerry, he breeds French bulldogs, right?
He does jerk them off.
He jerks them off because they can't have sex. They don't.
Okay.
They're not good at having sex, and so it's like turkeys. Turkeys, they can't have sex because
Jersey Jerry jerks off French bulldogs.
Artificial insemination.
Yeah, to
It's-
inseminate
It's,
No, I know.
But does he
But
actually?
yes.
He actually strokes them.
yes,
Does he?
he's got a special glove. I think that he
turkey
uses.
and a temperature. We actually on an
I
extra
own a
dose
French bulldog.
had a whole conversation about the turkey baster method. And
Yeah.
that at-home artificial insemination is actually quite popular and cheaper than actually going to a clinic, and it just requires a turkey baster and a willing male donor.
So
But no, turkeys in general, their breast meat is too big because they've been engineered and they've been bred to have
Yeah, they can't
a
mount
lot of
each
meat.
other.
They can't mount each other. So turkeys, if you buy one in a grocery store, it's because somebody jacked off a turkey.
I'm still not over this. That my guy gives handies to dogs.
Should we grab him? Have him come in?
I don't think he's
I
here
think he's
today.
in today.
Oh,
I'm
Put a pin in that though, because I want to hear about it too.
he
I could
he
call him.
actually
This is how a lot of dogs.
strokes him off.
This is how a lot of dogs are bred. Yeah.
That's
So
what he should have
is-
done for his science fair project.
Is this
that's actually what he should do this year.
is it legal to do this?
Well, there's actually
Yeah.
people do to horses, and that's a whole nother thing.
That's a tall task.
yeah. There-
Yeah, it's two hands.
That's not. there's
what
no
does
special
that
glove
job
for that.
pay?
no, they
What's
do it
that
to.
job?
I think a lot.
I would have to.
Yeah, a lot.
You'd have. I mean, nobody's doing that for 30 grand.
No, they're probably also not doing that to horses that aren't very fast.
A lot
Yeah.
of people reached out to me. I think they do it for free.
They're slow horses?
I'd be
No.
surprised.
No, there's a
Yeah.
lot of horse girls that if they're
No,
stallions
I
acting
think
up.
so.
I feel like it's kind of like a juror, like someone who wants to do that is the person you shouldn't have doing it.
Probably right.
Yeah.
You should want someone who has to do that reluctantly.
Bring your work home with you.
That's wild, dog. Holy shit.
I think it's like a lot of like equestrians. If like the male horses are getting a little jumpy and fidgety before like a performance.
Do you know this, or are you just making this shit up?
No, I'm not making this shit up.
So these little dudes be
No, horse girls. Like the equestrians, they like, because then the horse like is more relaxed.
The horse
and timid.
likes them. There's a famous case
I don't
of
know
this
if I believe
guy.
that, man.
I want to say he was in Washington State.
Mr. Hands.
Oh yeah.
Decades ago. I don't know if it was Mr. Hands or not. He got fucked. He liked getting fucked by his horse,
Yeah, Mr. Hands.
He died.
and the horse fucked him to death.
It punctured his.
Good.
intestines.
You know,
Yeah.
good.
It's Mr. Hands.
It
That
wasn't
video
his
is
first
available
time.
too.
Yeah, the Equus, right?
Yeah.
They made a
Two
movie
guys,
about
one
him.
horse.
But so that guy, the only thing that they got in trouble for was for trespassing.
Yeah,
I think because they went into somebody else's barn or something like that.
So
To
you-
your point, there aren't like.
you can
strict
fuck somebody
laws.
else's horse, but you can't fuck your own.
I think they did it and they filmed it on someone else's property. But the horse, that was the first time he fucked a
No
horse. He
fucking
fucked horses
horses.
before,
Here.
but that time the horse cock had punctured his insides.
Hey,
and it-
yo.
and he bled.
But he liked it.
Mr. Hands.
Apparently, he loved. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the video, but it's a very famous case, and they made a movie about it.
They made a movie about that.
And I think I saw the trailer for the movie, and it made it. It was so fucked up.
a part of America I did not know existed.
I don't think that. I hate to bring race into it.
No, I'm not.
but-
I'm not. I'm
but-
just saying in general.
But if you
like,
had to guess what race it was of a guy that got fucked to death by a horse,
That's probably a white.
that's a white.
It's a
That's a white. We're gonna have to wear that one.
oh man,
Listen,
Sheep shaggers, the Welsh.
the Welsh, yeah.
It all originated on that isle.
I did see this one. What documentary was that? I don't even remember what it's about. But there's this I think it's some country in South America where your first sexcapade is with like some animal out in the wild. I think it's like, I want to say Brazil or some shit. And so like in this little village, like as a young boy, that's like your rite of passage is the first thing that you fuck is this like sheep or some shit like that. I don't know. Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. I saw it. What documentary was this? I'm gonna look it up. Don't even worry about it.
If you watch the trailer for Equus or whatever it's called, I think I remember it being like, they told the story like it was a love story. Like they were on the side of the guy. Like what a beautiful relationship this guy. I forget, but it's I remember seeing that trailer and being like, that's a very fucked up way to interpret what happened to this guy.
I saw this crazy video of like two like black, like very beautiful black horses, like
How
Black
beautiful.
Beauty. Like if you watch it, you see that they're two very expensive horses,
Yeah.
and they're trying to like make them, breed. So anyway, the male horse gets trotted out of its cart, where they keep it, and introduce this lady, and the horse is going to mount the lady horse, and the lady horse bucks backwards, hits the stallion in the face, kills it instantly.
Oh shit.
And that's why they do artificial insemination, because they can like the female horse can kill the male horse.
They're too strong.
Yeah, because if you get like a bucking back kick to the face, it's actually like a really crazy video. And then literally that's like $1 million horse that's just dead.
Damn. If you were to breed two people, who would it be?
This is a slippery slope.
I mean, you have to look at some people and be like, man, what if these two?
We already said it.
kids.
The Rock and Dolly Parton.
What?
But that's for America's king and queen.
I thought it was
If you had with whatever, if you mix their genes, that little human's coming out cool as shit.
Probably, yeah.
Dolly Parton too short. Well, where are we talking about for?
For living, man.
For whatever reason you want. Maybe to create a great artist, maybe to create like a super athlete.
Serena Williams and The Rock, I think, would be. Or no, maybe
The Rock.
not The Rock. Usain Bolt.
Oh,
That'd be a wild.
That
athlete.
would.
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
This is how Yao
this
Ming
is
was
this is
born.
what they did with slavery. Actually, this is problematic as shit.
Good
Yeah.
point, Billy. Do you have a white person to suggest?
Yeah, let's make this-
Rob
Rob, yeah.
Gronkowski.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Rob
Yeah, no, I was gonna say
Gronkowski.
Rob, yeah.
Thanks.
Rob Gronkowski.
And Greta
And-
Thunberg.
And Lolo Jones.
Yeah.
Still black, Billy.
Lolo, isn't she a virgin? She was a virgin for a long time.
I'm unsure, man.
Tim Tebow and Lola Jones. Each for their first time having
Make
sex with each
a
other.
super.
I like
Christian.
that big girl from Game of Thrones, Brienne of Tarth. You ever see
Oh,
her?
Yeah.
Tormund
yeah.
really liked her
Like
too.
her and
I
like
had a thing
like
for her.
Brock
I'm not gonna
Lesnar.
lie.
Oh
Bro,
yeah.
Brienne Tarth and Brock Lesnar. I'd love to just see what came out.
I think
that
Rob-
guy that came out with instant scholarship to North Dakota State
Oh,
University
man.
as a lineman.
Yeah.
I think Rob Gronkowski's way more athletic than Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'd love to see Brock Lesnar go to town on Brienne Tarth. I guess.
That's what's going to
That's a
happen.
matchup.
That's what's going to happen
Or
with
vice
deep
versa.
fakes.
Yes,
There's going to be
that can
just
happen right now. Aaron, give me a picture of Brienne Tarth and Brock Lesnar.
yeah, people are just going to put out sex
I'm
tapes, like
gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
unauthorized sex tapes of people having sex.
Well, the Chinese government actually did this. Like Yao Ming was the product of like a Olympic. That's true.
Are we sure?
Let me find the exacts.
Okay. I'm not going to say it's definitely not true yet, but I would tread very cautiously if I were you.
Yao Ming's parents, I think they were both like very good athletes on the Chinese national team. Yeah, they were both Chinese basketball players,
Okay.
and the government said have a child.
What about Zach and Julie Ertz? That would be a good athlete.
They have.
Oh yeah, isn't she a soccer player?
Well, they're married. She's like one of the best soccer players in U.S. history.
And JJ Watt's wife.
Oh yeah. JJ Watt. His wife is she a national? I know she's a professional soccer
That's
player.
Dansby Swanson's wife.
No, Malview is, yeah.
Yeah.
This is what's her name? It's like
Something with a K.
it starts with a SH, I think.
JJ Watt's wife.
Yeah.
Isn't it like? Wait.
I think it's a.
Oh, he's gonna get mad at you for this.
What?
Who?
Not knowing his wife's name?
Yeah, he gets
Keela-
really mad when people
Kelia.
say JJ Watt's wife.
Oh, Kayla. Yeah.
Kayla.
Why?
Kayla.
I
Yeah,
guess
she's
like a respect thing.
she
I mean,
plays for the
unless you're, like-
Chicago Red Stars.
Unless you're like into his personal life, like.
But I
mean,
think
know him,
like
I don't
she's
know
an
his life.
athlete, and
met her, I
and,
don't
and
know
so
her.
when newspapers and stuff would say like JJ Watt and his wife, he would get upset
That's
and be like,
silly.
her
Bro.
name
You're
is.
one of the greatest defensive players of all time.
Kalia
the games.
Ohai and her husband.
Yeah,
I think they would make a fantastic team in terms of a wonderful athlete that they would give birth to. I remember Serena Williams did date LeVar Arrington for a while,
Ooh.
and that baby would
Yeah,
would jack me up. Like
I was with a woman at the time,
nice.
and nice, and I went to the ESPYS, and it was my first time seeing Serena Williams, and I was standing with the woman that I was dating, and Serena Williams walked by, and it was my first time seeing her,
Mhm.
and I was just, it was what it was, caught my attention, and I looked at her, and she was like, I mean, yeah.
What can I do? Yeah,
Yeah, she is.
she's built different.
Yeah, she's built different. Okay, do you want Brienne of Tarth like did up, or do you want her actually in her armor when I merge
I
these
guess I
pictures?
prefer in the armor.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's me.
Okay.
Maybe armor from the waist up. Is that
There
too
you go.
specific?
Okay, she's a little
Yeah.
knock-kneed. Yeah, okay, I got you.
I'm going to call Jersey Jerry right now. He said that we can try to call. He's in Colombia.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
where it was, where the little kid had the sex with a sheep.
So let's see if this works. This might not work.
He's in Colombia. Like
Yeah,
cocaine Colombia.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's been very excited about this trip.
Has he?
Yeah.
This is a weird ringtone.
And that's a Columbia ringtone.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
I kind of like it.
the cartel's calling.
I like it better than ours.
I don't know if it's going to
So
work.
I
my-
didn't know there were
work.
different ones.
So my last AI image that I tried to generate was a 70s style cartoon depiction of Jesus walking on water. It's pretty cool.
It's not
Did it
bad.
work?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's
yeah.
pretty cool,
It looks
man.
a little bit like the top left looks like Family Guy.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Big T,
Yeah,
talk to me. What are we teed off about? I like that shirt, by the way, that you're wearing.
thank you.
It's like a Hawaiian style Atlanta Braves shirt.
It's got the big three.
Roosevelt's.
Yep,
Nice.
great company. If in case anyone working there's listening, I love your shirts.
Who are the big three?
Are you being serious? Or are you joking?
Well, we're talking about the 90s.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I can't really. I'm standing far away. I'm going to guess that it's Smoltz, Glavin, and Maddox.
That's correct.
okay.
Yeah, it's a good shirt. Great shirts at Roosevelt.
Steve
No
Avery.
free ads.
Steve Avery just completely left out of that equation. Huh?
Steve Avery, good, not great.
Wasn't he? Did he won a Cy Young? Right.
No.
I think he
I
might
don't
have won a Cy Young. Big T, I better not be schooling you on
I
Atlanta
don't
Braves
think
pitchers.
so. I think he made an all-star team.
I think he had one great year.
He's a one-time All-Star.
Okay.
NLCS MVP. No Cy Young though.
No Cy Young. Okay. Got to be tough for Steve Avery to be able to look himself up online and not find the guy from the Wisconsin Murders, Making a Murderer guy.
Yeah, Stephen Avery.
Yeah.
1993, 294 ERA.
Pretty good.
I'm not even he finished 6th in Cy Young voting in 91 with a 338. He's not even listed in 93. That must have been one of the other Braves ran away with it. But yeah, I don't think there's anything really. It's been a good week.
Can I ask you
Dude,
guys a
some are
question?
saying. Oh, sorry.
Can I ask you a question?
Mhm.
Well, just a little break. I was doing the NASCAR thing with Spider. I was going to ask the ladies. Justin Haley is a driver. Do you know this? Justin
No.
Haley, he's a 23-year-old driver. He's a young kid. He just got engaged to his girlfriend, and her name is Haley Mottinger. So her name's going to be Haley Haley. And you know how like Haley can be pronounced and written in a bunch of different ways?
Yep.
Hers is the exact same way as his last name, Haley. Like so. So we were talking about it, and I was thinking about it out loud for the first time when we were just talking about it. Would you do that? Like, what does she do now? Like, she's going to take his name. Would you be Mackenzie? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, there's actually a decent chance.
Yeah.
Like, McKenzie's a pretty
Yeah.
common last name.
exactly Mackenzie for the
Yeah.
rest of your life.
Well,
I
if
don't-
you fall in love with a dude and his last name
I
is
know.
Mackenzie,
I always I don't really want to change my last name either way.
Right.
Because like what's the difference? But I
This
don't
girl-
know.
I think this
Honestly, I
girl
think
is.
it'd be funny. Like it'd be like a bit in my life that I'd be like, yeah, my name's
Right.
Mackenzie, and I would just like run with it and like
Eminem.
make
Yeah.
it a joke.
You could do a lot of work when you're asked to like enter a web form, just copy and paste.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd
First
be
and last
easy.
name. Yeah.
saves you 20 seconds on
One of
every-
the one of the coaches from Last Chance U, his wife was Holly, I think.
I kind of like it.
I don't know. Haley, but it's like you say it's a run. And the only reason I bring it up is because Mackenzie is such a popular last name. Haley, that would just get to me after.
Kelly, the wrestler.
Oh, that's a real person?
I don't think
Is
that's
it-
her government name.
It might be.
Really?
Haley sounds like a 50s rock song.
Yeah, she gotta be like some kind of artist. That's a fire artist name.
Oh, Haley. I could see like a guy hanging out in the back of a 57 Chevy
Specifically.
singing that song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met Haley down at the drive-in. We went to the malt shop.
I like it. Look, that's your
Oh,
Brock
this is-
Lesnar
Oh, that's some put together.
Reign of Tarth mashup.
This is
Oh, whoa.
amazing that you got that so quickly.
Yeah, it happened
That's
quicker. You guys
amazing.
were just talking about other things.
I apologize.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Me and AI are here for you.
What?
Any other nominees for people that you'd like to see have children? Billy, I'm looking at you specifically.
I'm thinking.
Aaron Rodgers and who'd be the weirdest person for Aaron Rodgers to have a kid?
Megan Rapinoe. If we're just doing athletes.
Yeah.
Who's
Well,
Megan Rapinoe?
Megan Rapinoe, she's another famous soccer player.
Mhm.
She's married to Sue Bird, right? And they're having a kid.
Mm.
But obviously, I think they can only use one person's egg. So I don't know.
I wonder how they choose that.
I think that depends from couple to couple.
Right.
Some might just like say 50-50 shot and don't tell us whose it is.
Oh,
I've also heard some other people, they'll get like a sperm donor from one of their relatives. I have no
Yeah.
reason to believe that they're doing it in this case, but hypothetically, if Sue Bird had a brother
like the opposite.
Yeah.
and then they'd take one of Megan Rapinoe's eggs and then mix it much like you would stir up a Manhattan.
I couldn't do that, man.
So
You couldn't?
Nah, bruh.
How much do you think your sperm would go? I bet you we could make some fucking
Yeah.
money off Arian Foster's sperm.
Again,
Jerry
man.
probably
Come
knows
on.
the guy.
Again, man.
Dude.
We're getting
come on.
getting problematic,
You should get
BFT.
Jersey Jerry in here.
yeah.
Top you off. He probably knows
No.
the guy.
He has a glove for it.
I have a buddy who went sperm donoring.
He went sperm donoring.
Yeah. He went jerking off for money.
Yeah, it sounds like he's like going on an adventure.
Yeah.
into
He's
a
telling
cave.
Turns
Into a cave.
full SD.
Clinic to clinic, just letting off.
But they just like you fill out a form and like certain things get you more money for your nut.
If
Like,
you
where
went to an Ivy League school.
Accolades.
Yeah, if you're taller.
athleticism.
No, it's true. If you're taller, your sperm costs more money.
I don't know how I know that. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, I think a lot of college kids have probably had a moment where they think to themselves, I'm broke as fuck. I'm selling plasma. I'm only getting $20 a donation for it or whatever. I wonder how much I could get for my sperm.
Yeah.
And then that's, I think, $50, or at least
No, you can get $500 a pop.
up to $500
Yeah.
now.
Have you ever done it?
Anyway,
Oh, boy, guys.
you know what?
Deer
I have to say,
headlights.
Big T hasn't had any teed offs lately. I'm just wondering, is Big T happy?
Definitely has done it before. Wow.
Has he?
How
is
many
he
times
angry?
have you done it? Hold on.
Where's Big T's anger gone? That's what I'm
check,
asking.
Did you check the they can look for me box or they can't look for me box?
Now, if this is on a podcast, they absolutely can find me.
No, they can't. What the fuck are you talking? You know,
There's no
that
chance
sounds
Billy
like
has
my
ever
dad's
done
voice.
this.
What are you
No.
talking about, G?
No, I haven't done
If
it.
you're if you have a kid in the next 2 years and it's a liar, there's gonna be people looking you up, Billy. I just looked it up. You have to be at least 5'8", so I'm good, and you have to be between 19 and 38.
Talking about there's a height
Yeah.
requirement.
Well, this is for the California Cryobank.
That's
I'm looking at
fucked
right
up.
now.
They say no shortness over here.
No, and if you have a bachelor's
Should we
degree,
sue? That seems like a form of discrimination.
It is. How is that legal?
I don't know. According to Men's Journal, if you're white, you have to be at least 5'10". What the fuck?
Wow.
yeah, no, if you can,
You're trying to have first rounders over here, and that don't cut it.
dude, blue eyes even gets you more money.
Well, I've got kind of blue eyes. Maybe they can.
Let me see.
Yeah, they're like blue green,
I say gray green,
blue gray green.
short blue gray green.
I'm
No,
6'5",
Jay.
blue eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah,
unfortunately
no,
you're balding.
Oh, we got monies.
You're bald.
Billy.
Billy went straight.
We're
I'm
to it.
sorry,
We're
no,
just
but that
showing
they
out
count
which
that in
straight to
too.
Each other's genetics.
Fuck
No.
our guest. Show some respect.
No, that's in the checklist. Look up the
You need a
quiz.
filter. You need
I
a
could-
filter, man.
I could
No.
honestly.
Don't need it.
Aaron, talk to this guy.
I'm just Billy just be whatever just comes to
It
his.
says here that the sperm bank in New York, you can get $1,500 a month.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
That's
but
a
you
nice
can't
chunk of
jerk
chunk.
off any other time. You can't have sex and you can't jerk off for like 4 or 5 days
do they
before donations.
Good question, Large. How do you know this, Billy?
Yeah. No, how do they know?
They
Like,
well
is-
because of
Amount?
your amount and retention and like you may have enough fluid, but the actual swimmers aren't in
Motility
it.
and
Yeah,
whatnot. Okay.
I could definitely see Billy being like, you know what? I am the total package. It's my duty as a human being to
procreate.
procreate with as many women as possible.
Spread
and have as,
fruits and be what it was spread and be fruitful or whatever. What did Jesus say? Big T.
go ahead and
Similar, yeah.
Yeah.
go forth and
be
multiply.
There you
Yeah.
go. Some
Yeah.
shit like that.
Also, you know who did that? Jeffrey Epstein. He wanted to create like a super race of Jeffrey Epsteins. Out
yeah,
there.
in a ranch in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And that's why he was funding so much Harvard research. Like I think there was the Epstein like branch of Harvard Science Library or something.
He just
Huge
wants.
donor.
I think that's his way of saying I want to live forever, and obviously he didn't.
A guy like that wouldn't kill himself, right?
Yeah. No way.
A guy who wants to live forever kill himself?
Yeah. There's a thing that I read the other day about how you're going to be able to upload your consciousness to a hard drive eventually.
I find that hard to believe.
That would be so fucked up if you did that to somebody without their consent. It's like, hey, I was dead for a while. Why'd you bring me back to life to live inside your computer?
Have you watched Black Mirror?
I have, yeah.
They did
Have
it
you seen the episode about that?
I haven't seen that one.
with John
It's
Hamm.
How
so
have
that
you
yeah,
not
there's
seen
a,
all
there's
the
a
episodes?
couple.
It's like one of the best.
So
I'm
there's-
sorry, go ahead.
I might have seen it then. 'Cause
So
I-
there's the
Globe.
John Hamm Christmas one,
Yeah.
which is really good, and
Yeah, that
then
was
there's
fire.
the one where the girl goes to that like circus museum thing out in like the middle of the desert. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, the black girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one in a long time, but it's something along those lines.
Oh,
also.
Black Mirror quite popular. It was trending the other day, and all kind of people were pissed because when you clicked on it, I was like, "New season out," and then no, they were just talking about how there's not a new season, and
That
fuck with
sucks.
everybody. Yeah,
it's
Great
a great
show.
show.
it's probably one of the greatest shows that have been created.
The Choose Your Own Adventure thing they came out with on Netflix.
That was bad.
that was a dud.
Kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
It was awful.
I haven't seen it.
The one where the person goes to live inside their favorite TV show and they're like Star Trek that they have.
Oh,
That's
I love
similar
that.
to this
Starfleet.
consciousness thing
Starfleet,
also.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
episode.
absolutely, yeah.
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 Oh, Transcendent with Johnny Depp. That's probably one of my favorite movies.
Wow, that's
I haven't
old
seen that
school
one.
name. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
it's
it.
it's.
Long
You haven't
time
seen that?
ago.
You'll
Yeah.
like. You're not. You don't watch movies. I tell you to watch anyway. Fuck you.
I do.
No, you don't.
I saw Ready Player One.
But
I
it-
saw
it
Avatar.
Took too long. You needed to see all those,
I know, I did.
and you need to see Transcendent. You'll like it.
Do I
It's
need to
really
see
dope.
Harry Potter?
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
People are telling me to see Harry Potter now.
It's
What,
there's like
Billy?
7 of them. I have them all bought because my kids like them.
Yeah.
But like I try every time I try to watch the first one, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna watch this shit. Finally, and I fall asleep on the first every day. And I'm not saying like it's putting me to sleep. I'm just saying maybe I just happen to watch it when I'm sleepy.
Yeah.
But I haven't got through episode 1.
I think HBO is making a show that's like
Yeah.
just the movies again.
It's like a gritty reboot.
I
Yeah.
heard they're gonna like make it Game of Thronesy.
Just people are gonna kill each other.
The Weasleys.
Is
are
J.K.
gonna have an
Rowling
orgy.
involved?
I think she is. Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of anti-trans stuff. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's gonna be problematic, baby.
What were you about to say, Billy?
No, like they're gonna make it like
No, about Harry Potter.
no, the Weasleys are gonna have an orgy in the HBO documentary.
Oh,
The
okay.
HBO
Who are the
series.
Weasleys?
Just a bunch of
In the
gingers.
documentary.
His comic relief friend.
Okay. I've seen it.
I need
Ron's
to.
more than that.
What do you mean?
I mean, that is
The
his
we-
purpose.
No, but Fred and they died.
Spoiler.
Like, come on, they're more than that.
You took offense to that, man.
No, like the Weasleys were way more. They're descendants of Godric Gryffindor.
I don't know
Like,
what
they're
you're
not just
talking
You
about.
seem
comedic
really,
relief.
you seem really into this.
He has had this argument before. Go off, Billy.
Anyway,
Since we're talking about J.K. Rowling, Billy, where do you stand on Bud Light?
I'm a Coors Light man through and through. I don't
Yeah.
discuss Bud Light at all.
Yeah,
In
never
general.
even entered the equation.
Nope.
Did you see the video of like the dudes bought the like I don't even know what that vehicle is called, just the big ass wheel,
Yeah,
and they bought like $50,000 worth of Bud Light and ran it over.
A tank?
It's not a tank. It just has like one wheel. It's like one big ass wheel. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know what the vehicles. I'm not into cars or shit or vehicles. Like
steamroller.
that. Steamroller.
Mhm.
Bang. And it's just like the whole parking lot full of Bud
Great
Light.
pull.
It's just like they don't understand how marketing works.
Yeah,
It's just goofy, man.
it's Nick Adams.
Yes,
Nick Adams,
but
leading
he's
the charge.
trolling. He's not a real human.
At times. At times, Nick is very real,
I don't think so, man.
and at times he's. It's so.
I
Tough
think
to get
he's an
a read.
undercover liberal.
I thought that for a minute too. I think he's just like playing up. He's just trying to be funny. Like
Yeah.
I don't think he believes or doesn't believe anything he says.
I'll
He's
take
just
that.
doing a bit.
I think so. Yeah, I'll take that. Because when he was on our live show, like some of his smirks, where I was like, "Come on, okay,
Mhm.
When he
I'm
was
serious,
reading that.
Arian. I can't even do that."
That was funny when he read the list of demands for
Yes,
M&Ms.
that was funny.
An
Epic.
all male bag of M&Ms with myself as
There you
as
go.
a spokesperson.
Kid Rock would also be acceptable.
Kid Rock or Tim Tebow
Yeah.
would be acceptable replacements.
Yeah. You do that really well.
I fade in out, and then sometimes if I start speaking with a British accent, then I get stuck in
Slips in the
English.
Oz.
British. I'm British in it. I can't do that one, but
Yeah.
When you-
occasionally Australian.
When
No.
you get in the accent, you can maintain it for a long time.
Right.
But it's hard getting into it.
No, it's very easy. It's very easy, young William.
Oh, this is a banger from Nick Adams 2 hours ago. Epstein didn't kill himself, but Anheuser-Busch did.
Yep. The man,
Whoa.
he's an algorithm.
It's fucking.
Yeah.
Nick Adams is an algorithm
Yeah.
unto himself.
He plays hits.
Kid Rock shooting up the entire case of Coors Light, or sorry, Bud Light with an automatic weapon. That was
Diesel.
so
If you
funny.
play Valorant, he had a Spectre. No. Not a Spectre. What is it called?
Kid Rock is in Valorant.
No, but the kind of gun he used, I recognized it because
Oh.
it's in Valorant.
I wonder
I thought Spectre meant like a character.
No, it's not even a Spectre. Now that I'm thinking about it.
when it comes to these protests and these boycotts, I gotta assume that 99% of normal people have no idea what the fuck is going on with
Stinger,
them,
it's
right?
called a Stinger. Sorry, go ahead.
It's like it's a very small amount of people online in their online media brains,
in their bubble.
in their bubble,
Mhm.
and they do think that Twitter is real life, and so this is like the most important thing to them in the world right now is making sure that Bud Light didn't give a customized can to a trans person.
It's a very indicative of you being caught in your algorithm. I agree with that 100%, and it's not nowhere near that serious, and nobody cares like that.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like
nobody gives a shit.
Regular people don't care about
nobody
this
cares,
stuff.
man.
We
Nobody
deal with our own day-to-day stuff
Mhm.
that's way more important.
There are some things that make waves that cause real things to happen, but Bud Light is not going to go out of business because you think that they should.
Yeah, and my favorite is Darren Ravel actually did this. Remember when Zion Williamson blew out his shoe? Remember in that game?
Yeah.
And then the very next day, Darren Ravel was like, Nike just lost $3 billion in market cap because Zion Williamson's shoe broke in a nationally televised game. And then, the stock bounces back like 2 days later. But they're saying that Bud Light has lost like $4 or $5 billion in market cap, but that's just like the result of a one-day fluctuation of.
They'll be right back.
Stock's down like 5% the past week.
Yeah.
I mean, which is not huge. I mean, it was trading around its highs for the year, but so it did give it a little bit of a hiccup. But no matter how transphobic or anything like that, if you think it's a buying opportunity, people will start to scoop it up. I mean, that's going to be the end of it.
100%.
Yeah.
And then I think it was MGT. I came across my timeline too that she had bought. I think it was like some other beer, maybe Corona. I don't know, some other beer other than Bud Light. And then somebody underneath them, a whole bunch of people were posting when they were advocates of LGBT, same kind of marketing scheme, and it's just like it's like goofy. It's a goofy thing to.
Yeah.
Did you see the marketing lady who was responsible for all of it?
Yeah.
In her quotes on it,
Mm-hmm.
like trying to get Bud Light away from its frat boy, like aesthetic, and then the pictures came out of her being in like some like 1,000-year-old Harvard frat, like.
Drinking out of a condom, right? Like
Yeah.
she's like shotgunning beers, drinking shots out of a condom, like doing all that frat boy shit.
Why out of a
Yeah.
condom?
Harvard
good
people are
question.
weird.
They are Skull and Bones.
And
Or
that's
is that
Yale.
Yale, yeah.
Harvard people think they're smarter than everybody, but it's just they got like a stamp of approval where they like, think that they're that much better just because they went to Harvard. But the standard of education they get there isn't that much different.
Is there anybody specifically that you're talking
I
about?
would
though?
say
No, I
sounds
know.
like a very
No, you know why? Because I went to all these camps with these football players, and then they like we were in the same circuits. They got into Harvard, and they're fucking dumbasses. I know they're dumbasses. They're just like me. Then they go to Harvard, and they come back wearing peacoats, acting like they're the shit. And it's like, dude, like what the fuck?
So it
Like,
was very specific.
It sounds a
You're
little
right.
personal.
Yeah, it's very
no, but
specific.
you can obviously see that. Let's say you're a D1.
There are extremely smart people that go to Harvard.
Right.
Right.
But
I just wanted to.
there are
make that clear.
100%, but they're no different than, someone who like, I don't know. There's this is with the athletes.
I've never met a Harvard athlete. I don't know. Oh, actually, I have Ryan Fitzpatrick. Did he
Yeah.
go to Harvard?
Yep.
Yeah.
I met
Sure
him.
did.
Yeah. He was pretty smart.
Yeah,
He was
good
a high
dude.
band recruit.
What does that mean?
Well, there's different bands in the Ivy League. So if you're a high band recruit, that means that you have Harvard admission standard grades, so you can get in like each class has a certain amount. You can get like 5 like band 1 recruits, and you can get like 5 band 4 recruits, and like interspersed. Like it's easier for them to recruit you if you have better grades.
Got it. So they don't do scholarships, but they do have
They
like a sliding scale of who they will admit.
they're need blind, and like basically they give you tons of financial aid depending on your financials. Like
I wish I
they'll
would.
analyze the whole thing.
I think now that I'm thinking about it, I could have gotten into Stanford, but I chose not to.
So Stanford is one school that I think I would have liked to go there
Yeah.
because it seems like it's got the perfect mix of like academics are cool, good campus,
Athletics
are awesome. Stanford might be the best all around in terms of like
Tiger
every
went
sport.
there.
When you combine every collegiate sport, if you were to give it a rating, I would say that Stanford's got to be like at least top 10, right?
Yeah.
Top 5.
They're usually up there in that. It's like the Capital One Cup or whatever it's called. It's
UCLA is
like
up there
all
too,
the-
right? UCLA.
Yeah, it's a
Stanford.
lot of Stanford's usually, but their like football and basketball have been bad for a long time now, so they
Yeah,
might have
UCLA
slipped, but-
boggles me as why they're so bad. They should be pulling the recruits USC does.
I
think
was
it's a
gonna
little
say
harder
though,
to get in, huh?
you went to the Stanford of the South though. That's got at least the Stanford of East Tennessee.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. That's facts, man. I did.
What about
Got in with
no, that's
flying
West
colors.
Tennessee.
Actually, I missed my first. I think I said this before, but I missed my first training camp as a freshman. I came. I think it was the last like 3 days, and one of the my first day on campus, there was a scrimmage, and they threw me in there full pads. Because I missed the clearinghouse didn't clear my grades because they were investigating a test that I took that they said I cheated on, which I absolutely did. Fuck y'all. And so
Wait, you did cheat or you
Absolutely.
did the test?
Absolutely, I cheated. It was some math test that I didn't. I'm not
From high school?
high school.
How do they investigate that?
Exactly right. So
Clearly not well.
They don't do a lot of things well in the NCAA. So I took a test, and here I can already see the clips being posted. God damn it, Maddie.
No, this is good. This is good.
So I took some tests. I had to do night school because my first 2 years in high school, I was not a good student. I was ditching class. I had like a 1.7, and so I had to make up a lot of shit. So I had to go to night school to get the credits. And there was this test, and to my credit, I did all of the work except for this last test. I was like, I'm not doing this shit. And I don't know how. Oh, I know how they did it. There was a dude who posted something on like some chat room. It was like, I helped Aaron with a test in his last thing. And I don't know how the fuck they found out, but they ended up finding out. And so they didn't clear it until they investigated. And I was so cool with that teacher, and I was so cool with everybody in the class. They was like, of course he did it. And but I didn't. And so fuck y'all. Got away with one there.
That dude's a snitch.
I mean, I don't think at that time you knew how powerful the internet was.
Yeah.
You know, that was 2004. So it's like, it was just now. That was the ASL days, you know, age, sex, location. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was those days.
Chat rooms.
Yeah, I was doing internet
Omegle.
hip hop battles. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like in chat rooms?
Oh yeah.
Just typing out the words?
Oh what? My lyrical skills. I was doing that shit. so I don't think to his credit, Max was his name. It just hit me. Play guitar. Cool guy.
All right, shout out Max.
Shout out Max for getting me into college.
Yeah.
Wow. I think I owe him at least a dinner or something.
Yeah, or at least one load that he can sell.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Whoa.
Yeah, load equivalent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look at Arian now and all I see is loads.
Ooh, those babies.
I'm gonna buy Anheuser-Busch and Arian's loads.
Yeah.
Aren't Bud Heavies like universally like Budweiser and the LGBT community have like been intertwined for a long time?
I love Bud.
I think a lot of beers, like during Pride Month, every single beer is like, we're the gayest beer.
Yeah, because gay people drink a lot. Like, actually,
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
no, like seriously, I've hung out with them.
They like
They're-
We need a Billy filter, bro. I'm telling you, like, he just says whatever.
if I sit next to
Gay
Pat
people
and
drink
Joey,
no more than straight people.
Right.
they like. I mean, come
I'll
on.
tell you what,
Not
Joey,
the
ones Billy
They do
knows.
party. They do party.
Joey can throw down wine.
Yeah.
But I like
I've
that.
watched Pat and Joey throw down a ton. Okay, you know,
Hey,
maybe.
hey, Google that for me, Billy. Do gay people drink more than straight people?
I'm asking ChatGPT.
I've asked ChatGPT some things, and there are certain things they won't touch
Yeah.
because it's problematic.
That isn't problematic to say. I think most gay people would agree with me.
All right.
Let's see. Make a proclamation right now. We'll put this clip out.
No,
Gay
come
people,
on.
I am now asserting that you probably drink more than straight people.
No, I don't think they drink more, but like
You this is what you just said.
Pat put. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, what you're saying is like Pat and Joey like to party.
Yes,
Yeah, fact check true.
I mean the Pride Parade is a huge party.
Yeah, but you understand that's a once a year event.
Yes, I do. I'm not saying it negatively. It's more
Who
of a
drinks
positive
more, is
thing.
gays or Irish?
Yeah,
I say they're neck and neck.
because you can
No
So
pun-
if
no
you're
pun
gay
intended.
and Irish, you're fucked.
Yeah. So Pat.
You're fat.
Neck and neck. More nuts to butts.
I would say like out of all the parades in New York, St. Patrick's Day Parade and the Pride Parade probably have the most drinking around it.
Puerto Rican Day Parade gets pretty lit.
I think every
Lit.
parade
Yeah.
drink like what
I
parade
don't
is?
know what that means.
Well, is there a dry parade? The Thanksgiving Day parade?
Thanksgiving's not a huge
It's more
drunken parade.
children.
Yeah.
Like
Boo. Children should not be at parades.
no, they should be at parades.
Why?
Because that's who then puts on the parades.
They're the
in
most
50
boring
years.
parades. I went to Disneyland. Yeah, and they had that little like parade. It's the stupidest shit I've ever been to.
Parades are so fun to
Hated
go
it,
to.
dog. That's what I'm saying. That's why kids shouldn't be there, so that you could drink, so you could have funner time at the parade. Because dry parades are boring.
When
I
I was
agree.
at the parade, like I used to love going to parades as a kid. That was like a
Still
fun
do.
outing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for like Thanksgiving, you see the giant floats.
St. Patrick's
Alright,
Day, you
that's
hear the
fun.
pipes.
For the purposes of,
He really loves parades.
Yeah, Billy's a huge parade guy.
I rescind that. Their children, they should have their own parades that are boring as fuck.
Billy, can you do the ad read real quick? I gotta go
Yeah.
take a
Get a
leak.
pee break.
Yeah, I gotta take a piss, and then we'll get back and we'll get into Japan. I
Oh yeah,
promise.
we're talking
Yeah.
about Japan
Yeah.
today.
Rising prices stressing you out? If you're looking for ways to cut costs, you need Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spendings, and helps you lower bills all in one place. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about, and chances are you're one of them. Like that Stars app just to watch shows, or free gaming trial that you never actually used. Rocket Money will quickly and easily find your subscription for you. And for any of you that don't want to pay for any more, just hit cancel and the Rocket Money will cancel it for you. It's that easy. Rocket Money also helps you manage all your finances in one place and automatically categorize your expenses so you can easily track your budget in real time and also get alerted if anything looks off. Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. I actually used Rocket Money. I just got a new credit card and I had all these charges on my debit card. So using Rocket Money, I went through all of them, see which ones I was going to keep and put on my new credit card. And it was actually a really awesome tool. So stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/macro. That's rocketmoney.com/macro. rocketmoney.com/macro. Check it out.
One of the funniest moments just happened.
Yeah.
Mackenzie
Yeah,
was
so
in
you
the
want to get out of here?
Sorry.
Bruh, so PFT tries this. He sneaks over,
He barely made it.
knocks a
Yeah.
cup to the right. Mackenzie moves the cup successfully. Big T says, "I gotta go too," and then assesses the situation and goes, "Nope." just gonna
I
sit back
didn't.
down."
I wasn't paying
Yeah.
attention to what he had to
Right.
do when he left, and then I saw that, and I was like, "Well, I gotta wait." But now I'm leaving.
That
The
shit
sperm
was
donors, don't take that into account.
That shit was fucking hilarious.
I'd seen that going too.
Large, what's popping, man?
Not much, baby. You never drank out of a condom?
Not recently, I guess.
So now,
I've never even
have you
seen it
ever-
suggested though.
Have you ever heard the term Coney Island whitefish? I've asked people this before. So I grew up in Coney Island, right outside of Coney Island in Brooklyn. And when my uncle used to take me to Coney Island for the cyclone and stuff, whenever you'd see a used condom in the gutter, sometimes after it rains, they'd be like going down the gutter towards the sewer. And it was called the Coney Island whitefish. Everyone in Brooklyn knows about Coney Island whitefish. It's not a big term afterwards, but a filled condom just thrown in the streets, Coney Island whitefish.
Okay.
There's a bar in downtown Brooklyn called Duff's. It's like a rock and roll bar. I'm not a big rock and roll
Like
guy.
Homer Simpson.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like more heavy metalish, and they serve a Coney Island whitefish, and it's a shot of Jameson inside an unlubricated condom. Fucking, and I'd never seen it anywhere other than in Duff's, and I hadn't heard the term Coney Island whitefish since I was a kid. That's the only time. I've never done it. I want to preface with that.
And they're not used condoms.
no, they crack it open right
You
there.
ever
How authentic are we getting here?
you ever make a condom water balloon, like throw it out a window?
Yeah.
That was so.
Or you like drop it on someone's head.
No, we were like in college. We were throwing them out the dorms on like not on people below because that could be dangerous, but right next to them. And it's
You were
just,
definitely throwing them at people.
no,
question.
because
Like,
that
don't
would be
lie, Bill
that would be
Bryson.
dangerous.
Yeah,
Like, getting hit with like a aquarium amount of water.
An aquarium
Amount.
amount of water.
Have you ever filled up a condom with water?
An aquarium
Not with water.
I'm calling cat.
Like probably
Come
could
on,
fit
cuz.
seven
Straight up
gallons.
cum and big old dick.
But why was that your reference to the amount of water
Aquarium.
an aquarium amount of water?
Yeah.
Bruh.
Can I have one aquarium of water, please?
there's
No.
different size of aquariums.
Like for it was
That's
a
true,
lot of
too.
water.
Yeah. There are a lot
You
of different.
gave him a hard out. No,
I mean, water's heavy. Like I think a washing machine size amount of water is equivalent to a ton.
you don't have to convince us of the weight
It's
of water.
dangerous.
Yeah, no. But in aquarium, you were not filling up condoms with aquarium amount of water.
No,
10 gallons? Yeah, you could.
You put 10 gallons in
you're-
one condom.
those
such a liar.
Man, you
condoms
can't
fill.
put
I mean, I can't. I remember throwing things this big, and that's
That's
like
2 gallons.
That's like a balloon.
Maybe your guys' condoms can't fit that much. Mine can.
That's an interesting discussion. What kind of condoms, when you did use condoms, did you use?
Condoms can hold 1 to 2 liters of water.
Liters.
Yeah, it's not an aquarium. That's
what's
a,
that in gallons?
He said 10 gallons.
At best, that's like a
I just
giant
remember-
Sprite.
What did he say?
He said.
I
he
just
said-
remember.
He said he was throwing aquarium full of water in a condom. He put an aquarium full of water in a condom.
Have you ever
Throwing 'em out
seen?
windows.
He just
Got
said
it.
they can hold a liter. Aquariums have gallons in them.
Well,
G.
there's other sources now that say that it can hold up to a gallon.
okay, that's one.
The thing is, I think they're only accounting for when it doesn't stretch, like when they push it to the.
I think a
limit.
gallon is stretching it.
All I'm saying, it was a dangerous amount of water to hit someone from like 3 stories up. Like I know we're getting freaked out about the goddamn aquarium.
I mean,
but
it's
like
just a wild
it-
claim to make, Billy.
it's. I mean, it was dangerous, but when they explode, you just like it would blast people.
You may be right though. I could be wrong. I've never tried to fill up a condom with water.
Well, because they keep them in the common rooms in those big.
What kind
like
of condoms
bowls.
were there?
They were shitty ones that no one would use because everyone was scared that they were gonna
What
get
are
someone
what are
pregnant.
which ones were shitty?
Like the ones that like are like the glow, like the light up condoms, like the
What
ones
is
that
that?
are not even square packages. They're
vending
in
machine ones.
circles.
Okay.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
ones that you just like don't trust.
They had a Rough Rider in my health building that we had in college. The Rough Riders, you guys know those?
I've
They got like the studs on them.
yep.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
Yeah.
and every guy was like, "Chicks are gonna love this."
The rib joints.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
kind
wonder,
of
does that actually work? Does it feel better?
I
We
I
had
don't know.
female condoms in those bowls.
Dental dams?
Dental dams.
Those were wild.
Those are for like lesbian sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Well, they also have female condoms for heterosexual sex too. Never used one of those.
Like a parachute.
R.I.P. Patrice O'Neill. He said, "Safe sex is a woman's responsibility."
Yeah.
He said, "You know what my protection is? Just not AIDS, guy."
He was the best.
There's a condom that they used to have in our health center that was called the kimono condom. All right, let's talk Japan. Nippon, right? The ancient, that's what it was originally called. So I know Billy was really excited to get into Japanese history.
It's metal.
Fun facts about Japan. Japan is a very metal country.
Yeah.
Very metal. So where do you want to start, Billy? I'll let you choose your own adventure.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Where
I
do you
said
wanna
large
start?
take the reins. on
So what
this
happened to
one.
me is when I started doing Twisted, right? Doing Twisted, I had no interest in Japanese culture beforehand. I wasn't outside of the food, I should say. I've always been a big Japanese food guy, so I'd never leave chopsticks stuck in rice because I knew it kind of like symbolized the
Time out.
incense.
Favorite ramen spot in New York City.
Puto, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try
So
that.
like if you know, like there's all these different things that you're supposed to eat sushi like all in one bite. It's not supposed to be bit. I've always kind of respected some of the traditions, but I've never done a deep dive into their culture. And then all of a sudden, like our first episode was Twisted History Kamikazes. And there was a guy, it was the 1940s, guy's name was Hajime Fuji. And I had heard this story about him. He had gone essentially to the emperor to apply to be a kamikaze, right? And he was willing to die, divine wind, willing to die for his emperor. And the emperor was like, 100%. Do you have any wife or kids? He's like, yeah, I have a wife and 2 girls. And he was like, no. Apparently, with kamikazes, you could kill yourself for your country, but you couldn't leave behind widows and orphans. So he was turned back. So he went home distraught, and he told his wife, and whatever, that he wasn't going to be able to do it. And then so his wife had then promptly drowned both their daughters and drowned herself. And then he went and reapplied, and they were like, okay, cool. And then 5 years later, he had flown himself and killed himself flying into an American ship. And it blows my fucking mind that you could say shit like that so casually as far as Japanese culture, because there's such a dedication, and I know in the 1940s, as you start doing stuff around World War II, the amount of patriotism that there was in the United States, where you had kids who were forging their birth certificates and trying to, when Pearl Harbor had happened, and trying to go to war as there was a kid who fought in Guadalcanal and he was 15 years old. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's all this kind of stuff. But I think what you had seen in Japan in and around that time was so totally different for me that I became enamored with it just about on every level. So when it came, and maybe we touch upon it today, maybe we don't, the idea of suicide in Japan, the idea of the no retreat in Japan, like all these different things about it. Every time I came across a story, it was so fucking alien to me that it became fascinating. So I said, if you guys ever do Japan, I'd love to sit in. So that's why I'm here for it. And yeah, so the guy's name, Hajime Fuji, 2 young children, wife, no orphans. So she drowned the kids, young daughters, and drowned herself. And then he met his own fiery death in May of 1945. That's wild, right?
It is crazy.
It's an honor society. I mean, these
Mm.
were the same people that were one of the only civilizations to stop the Mongols.
Yeah, so that ties in with the kamikaze thing as
Yeah.
well, because it was Kublai Khan, right? Kublai
Yeah.
Khan tried to invade Japan in the 13th century,
Yeah.
and they got pushed back from Japan, and partially due to a massive typhoon that hit during the invasion.
Right. Yeah.
And so they called that typhoon kamikaze, which meant divine wind. So that was the divine wind that pushed it back. So when people in World War II tried to give their lives for it, they named themselves kamikaze after the force that had initially repelled an invasion of Japan, 700 years ago. Kind of crazy.
On top of the planes, which everyone knows about, and the planes were the big thing, right? There was nearly 3,000 kamikaze planes, sank 34 ships, killed 5,000 American sailors, wounded another 5,000. Those are big numbers. But on top of them being what you would know as traditional kamikazes, they also had these K-10, which meant heaven shaker. You ever see them? They were the small submarines.
Yeah.
So you can launch a torpedo, but it was limited range and it was straight. There were no homing, device. So they developed, these torpedoes that you were able to fit in. It could fit just a gun that if you missed, you're able to kill yourself or self-destruct, and you could steer it to a certain degree. And those were another type of kamikazes. And then on top of that, they had Shinyo boats, which were boats that were laced with explosives that would drive into things. They had these frogmen that were called Fuku Ryu, and you would be able to stay on the bottom of smaller rivers in frogmen suits with these fucking bamboo poles that had bombs on the end of them, and you would just thrust them up into boats coming by. All these people looking to kill themselves in all these different ways in honor of, the emperor. And I thought that from just thinking about, would you die for this country now? I mean, I don't know if you went out and asked the
that's
average
real
kid.
patriotism for real.
Yeah, I don't know if people would do that anymore, and
They were
so
dying.
whatever.
They were dying for the emperor. They believed that the emperor was God, right?
Yeah.
If not a direct representation of God, actually God himself. So what is? I guess I'm very ignorant to Japanese culture. I don't know that much about it. What is the prevailing sense of the afterlife? What do they believe happens after you die?
Well,
What is heaven to most Japanese people?
Yeah, if you're dying, I guess if we're speaking just in terms of a World War II situation or previous where they did think that the emperor was God, I would assume that they thought that in death they would achieve
That had to be
immortal
stressful,
life.
Yeah.
so that's part of Japan's history is that there's been many waves of religion, and part of the imperial Japan was sort of erasing of a lot of that and making hyper nationalism the new religion and drawing off of old tales to create a national identity that sort of resulted in basically a hyper driven war machine with an ideology to to expand in the empire of Japan, a lot of the colonial, because they study a lot of the colonial powers, and they're we're not going to be a victim like other Asian countries to these colonial powers. We're going to become an imperial power ourselves. And part of that was the development of this national identity, very intertwined with religion, that was much, that sort of looked past a lot of their religions that were there before, like Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, and other religions that were the core religion of Japan before.
Because wasn't there before Japan was on lockdown, where nobody was in, nobody was out? I think it was 250 years of that. Wasn't before that though? There was super infighting with emperor to emperor, and there was just massive amounts of okay, this is our ideology. We gonna take over with this, and they would take over, and then somebody would backstab them in that camp, and they would go, and it was just exchanging of emperors taking over different subsets of Japan. Wasn't that?
Mm.
For a while, the samurai culture was there would be people that would become experts at various martial arts, swordsmanship or whatever, and they would act almost like a police force where you could also hire samurais to walk you around. If you were an aristocrat or somebody with a lot of money, you could have your own samurai crew that would follow you around, and then other people would hire their own samurai crews, and then there would be wars between local, I guess you could say aristocrats would fight each other with their own samurai armies. And then the samurais got so powerful that even though other people were in charge of different towns, prefectures or whatever, the samurais were really calling the shots. They were running the country, but they would have their own figurehead that was serving, as the face of the government. But it was really the samurais that were just running
Royal
the entire
family
thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the samurais are basically mercenaries.
Yep, that's how they got started.
Yeah.
But I think when you bring up the idea of heaven, I think there was more of the promise of a wonderful afterlife. I think with that culture, there's more of a concentration on honor, right?
Mhm.
Like honor in this life and what you left behind for your family. Like there was a story of the guy who there was only one Japanese passenger on the Titanic, and he survived by taking a seat on the lifeboats, and he was like an outcast when he got back to Japan. I mean, he was put in the history books as a coward. I think his family like disowned him and stuff like that. So I think like there was an honor thing that that people kind of go by. I know it was called like I'm trying to find the word for it. It was called Gyokusai, 100 shattered jewels, because a man would rather be a shattered jewel than to be an intact tile. So in 1944, when the last protocol for World War II, it was called Ichiyoko Gukusai, which was 100 million shattered jewels, implying that the will of sacrificing the entire Japanese population of 100 million, if necessary, for the purpose of resisting opposition forces. Like, think about that, because not the Japanese culture begins and ends in World War II, but if you look at it in World War II, when they were losing, right? Like, we had just gotten through, it's like Band of Brothers versus the Pacific, right? Those two shows are such a dichotomy. Like, we had fought such a long and hard war throughout Europe with the Nazis that when it came to ending things with the Japanese, we dropped 2 atomic bombs on what were essentially innocent cities, right? I mean, there were no military, there was one boat making thing in either Hiroshima or Nagasaki. So I think when you have like a culture of people that are willing to die for their country and willing to die for their own honor, that might even be more than the idea of being promised 40 virgins and whatever in the afterlife.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like that type of Middle Eastern mentality.
Yeah, it's like in America we don't really talk about. It's taboo to refer to a dead person as being a coward, but I feel like in Japan, it's more common, and they point at examples like don't be like this person, don't be like that person. That's a lot of dishonor. In America, it's almost like against the rules to speak ill of the dead in any way, shape, or form. And so that means that while you're alive, you don't have the sense of shame that you would have if you were in Japan. If you do something cowardly, you know that people will remember that name, and that your name will be dragged through the mud, and you won't leave a good impression on, whether it's your ancestors or your contemporaries, people around you. But here in the United States, I feel like most people die, and everyone's just like they were a good person. And that's how they're remembered.
Yeah.
So getting back to the specifics of what religion they were and what they believed, it was state-sponsored Shintoism. So that was sort of a indigenous religion to Japan that worshipped sort of nature, and especially ancestors. So this whole idea of which ancestors were revered and which ancestors echoed in eternity, like basically the idea was if you performed good acts during life and, sacrificed for Japan, sacrificed for your family and the land that you worship, and, the spiritual beings that inhabit that land, kami, I think they're called, that when you died, you'd become a worshipped, revered individual that would be worshipped as an ancestor, and you wouldn't bring shame upon your family. You'd be revered throughout your family's history as like a tenet of what someone should be, and like not.
So you live your life trying to become
Yeah.
the good example at the end of it.
Yeah. And then if you were a coward, you wouldn't be revered. And basically sort of the same way that the idea of you really die when the last person says your name.
Mm-hmm.
So sort of that type of mentality when it came to it.
But look up this guy then, Masabumi Hosono. That was Hosono. Like, that was the dude from the Titanic. There were two spots on Lifeboat 10, and he jumped on one. And then, you think you get home. Like, if I don't know, tomorrow, if I survive some sort of Titanic-esque type thing, my family would be pumped. You know what I mean? This guy was fucking ruined.
Yeah.
He lost his job. He was branded a coward. And like I said, school textbooks described him on how to be dishonorable. He died in 1938 as a broken man. Again, this is 1912, the Titanic sank, right? A lot of difference in the last 110 years.
So I can almost see how, if you, like World War II, you feel your way of life is being threatened by the rest of the world, you're willing to die for that cause. That's an honorable thing. If the Titanic is going down and your options are die or do not die, it has nothing to do with the state of Japan. Like, nobody, it affects no one else. Why is choosing to not die a dishonorable thing.
I think because there were
Women
there were
and
like
children.
there were women and children who died.
Yeah.
And,
Okay, I
and
guess-
so-
I
and
guess-
and there were not as PFT's famous lifeboat experience. There weren't enough lifeboats for everybody, and so I guess the honorable thing in their eyes would be
I guess I
save
can
somebody
see that a
else's life?
little
somebody
bit.
else. Yeah.
So I think
But still,
I think I would turn down if they gave me the opportunity as the ship was sinking and they're filling up the lifeboats. They're like, "Hey, PFT, would you like to get on the boat?" I think I would turn it down if there were women and children on board. But then if there was one spot left on the lifeboat at the very end and it's the last spot on a lifeboat and somebody's like, "Hey, PFT, you can get on if you want." At that end, I think I would be like, "Yeah, I'll get on." You
You
know?
think this space could fit you?
Yeah, thanks, Billy. That's not what I was going for, but yeah, it's very tough to turn down that last spot. Anybody can turn if it's like in the process of being filled. That's a future me problem. I'll worry about it then.
I mean, like the Titanic, like the movie. I'm sure there were instances like where there were dudes bullying people
Oh yeah,
off the lifeboats. You know what I mean? So I guess that's probably how they looked at him. Like yo, you let somebody else die so you can live. Like you're a coward.
hmm
I can see. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I can see how they could come to that conclusion.
that's why Big T's favorite vice president Al Gore, he served in Vietnam because he was drafted. He could have been an objector to it, but he decided that he was going to go because if he didn't go, they were going to take somebody else from his hometown that would have filled that spot and gone over to serve overseas. So he just said, "You know what? I'll do it."
admirable.
Admirable guy. In that instance.
that's an admirable thing to do.
yeah.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah, I would definitely not.
Well, y'all got it.
So when it comes to like dying for your country, that's like a loaded question too. It's like, what does that mean to die for your country?
That's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Well,
Yeah,
But let's say it's not even dying for your country. Like, you know, you can see yourself in 1940 maybe having that, you know, sense of patriotism, die for your country, whatnot. What about when you do something wrong and the idea of suicide there? Like, you know, we all know about the Harry Carey
yeah.
seppuku type thing,
Mhm.
and that was huge too, because it wasn't you disgraced somebody or had lost this honor that you
Yeah.
were chasing, and so you had to kill yourself in a way that was very ritual.
Yeah.
On the white fucking pillows, and there was two ways to do it. You could either do the one step in, down, and over, or just do the one across. Like seppuku was like, you know, the way women committed suicide over there, I think it was called jigai instead of seppuku, and they tied their legs together that way they wouldn't like show themselves after they died or whatever. It's like all very, very ritualized
Yeah.
and stuff, and it's fucking bizarre
I-
to think about that here.
Yeah, it's-
Ritualized suicide is bizarre to me.
It's like definitely a cultural thing that I can't get with to their reasoning, but I can relate if their reasoning means that much to them. Like for instance, I never thought I could take my own life ever or be in a position to where I would die for anybody else until I had kids. Like it's just, and I know it's a very cliche thing to say, but until you have kids and you experience that love for somebody else to where it's like I'll do anything to protect them, that's the only thing I can relate it to. And if they feel like that about Japan, I can understand it. I don't feel like that about America, but if something was to happen to my babies, like it's not even a thought. Like everything that I am is going to save them.
So let's say there was some sort of honor involved with your babies and you decided that you had to kill yourself. How would you do it?
Bullet to the head.
Right? So like the guy who thought that he disgraced himself in World War II, who led the kamikazes, his name was Admiral Takajiro Onishi, the father of the kamikazes. He decided to do the traditional seppuku, but he waved the guy who sits behind him, the kai shikunin, like the dude, like once the other guy cuts your head off to do it, and it took him 15 hours to bleed out. 15 hours, like, you know what I'm saying? Like after doing it. And listen, we're not on this podcast to shit on Japanese cultures, but it's just something that's so foreign to us, right? Like, you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I can't relate. I don't understand. I just can't relate.
well, like, you know, put the car on and fall asleep or something like that. But that whole thing, I watched something that was Man in the High Castle, some bullshit. We just kind of saw it going on in the background, and it wasn't like a one-off at all.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of
The whole beheading thing, isn't there like, I don't know how much truth there is, I haven't looked it up, but isn't there like, aren't you conscious a little bit after?
Oh yeah, they did the tests in France during the where
guillotine.
they saw the eyes moving. They told the prisoner, move your eyes as much as you can after your head gets chopped off, so we can figure out how long you're still with us. So the guy was looking around, like moving his face, and they timed it. I think it was like 15 seconds till the brain stopped.
So I got it. Like I said, I don't know how much truth there, but that's like,
Yeah.
That's a wild
But
thought to think.
when the
You
emperor,
just still alive without a body?
France guillotined its last person in 1977.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that just
I was
happened.
6 years old.
That's what I
Right,
said. Shit
imagine
just
that.
happened, yo.
Like, they were still using the guillotine up to 1977.
I mean,
It's fucking-
we still use the firing squad.
Yeah. And
Oh.
electric chair, right? Or did they?
I think a couple
lethal injection,
states
yeah.
still might
Yeah.
have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, how about this? Death row in Japan. Like, death row is a terrible fucking place. We all know that. And sometimes, but you know when you're going to go and whatnot. In Japan, if you're on death row, they knock on your cell that morning and say you're going to die. You have no idea beforehand.
That's worse.
You don't know. So every night is potentially your last. And then your family and your lawyers don't know until the day after. That's crazy. You know what I mean?
That
Like,
is
Seems less
insane.
honorable.
So you can't
But
die with
is
honor.
it worse? Would you rather?
Yeah.
Would you rather know I'm gonna die on this day?
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
here you only know a little bit in advance, like a couple months maybe.
That's more than enough time to get your affairs in order.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
like
that's way worse to not know.
I think it's
Because
I
of the
think going to
mental
bed.
the
torture,
for you-
yeah.
dread of knowing like I'm gonna die on this day, and you just have to wait.
I think that's better though, cause like I think that's my only fear. I'm not afraid to die in the sense of like I know it's gonna happen, and so like I don't. I think the biggest thing is like is my shit in order. My kids. I would like to say goodbye. I would like everybody to know how I felt about them. I would like to have a send off like, all right, this is my time. This is my last hour. This is my last time wearing this. This is my last time. I would like to have that send off where it's a little bit more like, all right, man, I did what I wanted to do, rather than I don't know how much time I got.
You
Oh,
got
shit, it's
you have
today.
absolutely no peace if you're on death row in Japan. Every day
Yeah.
you're stressed as fuck.
Yeah.
You're like,
If
oh
they-
shit, it might be tomorrow. If you have a date and it's set 7 months from now, you have the security of knowing, well, I'm not going to die today.
Yeah.
Today's not the day.
If they tap on the bars in the AM, you don't get to see the PM, and it's usually about an hour before they kill you is
Come
when you
on,
do it.
nah.
Only prison officials and a priest are present when they kill you. Your family or attorneys don't find out until the day after it's carried out.
See that.
100% of their executions are done through hanging, and 100% are done with a long drop.
Oh,
Executions you could
jeez.
do a short drop. I guess I don't know what the middle one's called actually. A standard or a long drop.
Medium drop.
The short drop is the easiest to do because everyone kind of goes off the same one, but you wind up kind of hanging there and choking to
Yeah,
death.
it's suffocating.
The standard, you have a better chance of snapping the neck and dying right away. But, you know, the idea with going long drop, which the Japanese do, if you don't do it right, you rip a guy's fucking head off.
Yeah.
So they have, of course, I don't mean to be rude, but it involves math. They perfect placement of the knot, and they take into consideration all your stuff. They long drop you, and they snap your neck perfectly, and you die automatically.
Very clean.
They
Very,
weigh
very
you.
clean. But it's I just think it's an argument, Big T, of when, you know, not knowing versus knowing, you know. But holy shit, like when I read that, it fascinated me too. Like, these people, it's
Well,
fucked up.
that's actually counterintuitive to what I've experienced with the Japanese culture, because that seems a little more dishonorable. Like they're all about the honor about death, and that's more like a psychological tease. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't, to me, it doesn't fit.
But these people already have lost a certain degree of honor because I think most of the death row guys are murderers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
so
like
they're
they're
like-
convicted murderers.
But then that makes sense if they view it like we shouldn't honor your death. Okay, yeah.
And I don't think it's as insulting as wrapping a Muslim in pork. You know what I mean? Or doing something like
of
to
course.
them
Yeah.
or, you know, I don't know, shooting an Italian in the face. Like, you know, you see that in the mob movies.
Yeah.
Please let me see my baby in the coffin type stuff. Like, I don't think there's any disrespect. It's actually a little bit more I don't know why I said mathematic, but, you know.
It
certainly
is.
more
It's
clinical, yeah.
absolutely accounted
calculate-
for. How much you weigh versus what's the snapping
Details.
pressure, all that shit.
They're very detail-oriented people,
Details.
right?
Yeah.
So this was why when the emperor surrendered, everyone went nuts.
Yeah.
To the point where there was a coup.
Mhm.
There was a coup.
There you go.
There was a coup.
Talk to him, Bill.
At the coup.
We
Yes.
came a long way, man.
We have.
August 15th, 1945, Emperor Hirohito announced the unconditional surrender of Japan to the Allied powers in a nationwide radio broadcast known as the Jewel Voice broadcast. But that broadcast almost didn't get out of the palace. He recorded it. It got snuck out in a laundry hamper to the radio station because a bunch of the Japanese military who didn't want to surrender, they launched a coup. and Major Kenji Hatanaka, the coup's leader, occupied the Imperial Palace with his men for several hours, and they were trying to find this recording and destroy it before it got leaked. And like, think about this: these guys had seen 2 bombs drop that no one had ever seen the destruction like they did in the world, and like they've lost so many men, they're getting beat, and these guys still wanted to like not surrender. And you know, they ended up airing the message. The whole place surrendered, and then the rebel leader went back to the palace and shot himself, and like they all killed themselves. When the emperor surrendered, so many high-ranking military members were like no, I'm dying with honor, and just like killed themselves.
Tojo shot himself when the emperor surrendered, but the Americans got to him, saved his life, and then put him in prison, nursed him back to health, gave him a brand new set of dentures, and the fucking guy who worked on his dentures put remember Pearl Harbor in Morse code on the back of his dentures, which is wild. And then we put him on trial and we hanged him a couple of months later. We hanged him on December 3rd, a week before his 64th birthday on December 23rd, 1948. I don't know. There's just like such a fascination around all this stuff.
So it's not all death in World War II.
Yep.
I learned something when I was just doing a quick search of Japanese customs to see what I wasn't familiar with. You know that Japanese overall, like 60% of them take baths instead of showers. Ooh. They love bathing. They do. And they bathe at night after their workday is over. So they bathe before they go to bed to wash away the fatigue from the day that they just spent working. So it's like it's a ritual. Whereas, most people, I think in America, we shower in the morning just it's a routine, and you do it to get ready for the rest of your day just because you don't want to be walking around all day in a funk. But for them, I think it's like a deeper connection to bathing than we have here. I thought that was interesting. What percentage do you think of Americans bathe like consistently?
I think that's a size thing. Like, I can't remember the last time I saw a bathtub that I could fit in.
Oh, I thought you were going to say big people take baths.
No, I think we don't.
Would you?
Like, when's the last time you've been in a bath?
Oh, 15 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Would you take a bath?
Wait, it's been 15 years since you've taken a bath?
Like, I can't
Probably,
I can't tell you the last time I've taken
Rental
a bath.
culture, because all the baths are tiny.
Would you take baths though if that was like if they
No.
made extra? Right, that's what. Like still wouldn't.
I think that's like some like romantic shit I do, like with somebody else. Again, it had to be a big enough bath. But I've always found it odd that you are sitting in the water that you're cleansing yourself with.
Yeah. Pee a little bit in there. Yeah.
Well, I do pee in the pool or the hot tub, but I would not pee in the bath.
Sometimes you get so relaxed a little leaks out.
That's on you, fam. I wouldn't, because in the pool or the hot tub there is cleansing.
But do you think
that.
percentage-wise, because Japanese people aren't overly big,
That's true.
whatever.
Yep.
So you think
right
percentage-wise
in over
for
there.
whatever it is, 5'9" to 6 foot, how many people take baths daily as opposed to shower? I mean, it must be a very small percentage.
Also, Arian's acting like they don't make a bathtub big enough to fit his gigantic frame.
The average bathtub does not fit my frame. I'm 6'1". You know nothing about this.
You've also made a
Let's
decent
go. Let's go.
You've made a decent amount of money over the course of your career. I would imagine that you have a good bath in your house.
I don't have a bath in my house.
You don't have a bath at all?
Because, dog, I grew up not taking baths. So why would I spend money on a bath when I don't take baths?
PFT, I could never find an apartment that could fit, like with a bathtub that would fit me.
I'm not talking about like
in my
he just
rental.
he can't relate. He hops in both feet every bath.
He dives in.
I swim laps every morning.
Like I couldn't afford an apartment with a giant tub.
Yeah, I know. Like in apartments in New York City, it's tough to take a bath.
Everywhere. Standard bathtubs don't really fit big people, dog.
But you go on the road.
He's really
that's
he's
not even the point. That's not even the
problem.
point though. Like,
How
who
many
would
baths do you
want to
take?
take a bath?
Usually if I'm on the road, if there's like a nice hotel bath.
No,
Yeah, that's
I've
different.
never
You're
even-
taking baths.
Occasionally, yeah.
Yo,
Really?
I've never.
That's different.
Mad
sex
Dog
in
just
the
said
bed.
people have sex in there. Yeah, of course they have sex in
They have sex
hotel baths.
everywhere in
You
hotels.
know where you sleep at night in a hotel? It's in a bed, in a hotel bed.
No,
full
that's
of-
casinos you're talking about. Those are the casino hot tub, bathtub switches.
Yeah.
Like those you can
Still.
fit in.
Still,
Yeah,
I
Like
would-
shout out
But
Black.
at home, do you?
What's that?
Do you bathe at home?
No, I mean sometimes I'll get into the bath. I'll do like cold water after I'm done with a Peloton. I'll just jump in like a cold tub real quick to bring the core temperature down.
This guy's a
How long
bath
are when you're at a hotel and you're sitting in a bath? How long are you taking in there?
20, 30 minutes.
Oh, that's crazy. That's
Yo,
insane.
I didn't notice.
enjoy
I didn't
that
notice.
as
I didn't
well.
notice this until this conversation.
This isn't that weird.
No,
I don't do it probably like twice a year.
I just realized
3 times a year?
I didn't notice until this conversation. I judge people that take baths. I
Do
didn't.
No,
Yeah,
I do for sure.
I think you're a little soft.
Because I
Yeah.
take a
I
bath.
think so.
It's
yeah.
fruity.
It's
I wouldn't-
weird.
I wouldn't-
I don't know if that
You're already
word.
on
I don't
hot
know if
water
you're
with
allowed
the
to use
gay
that
people
word.
that's
in-
episode,
No,
man.
but you're throwing in like a bath bomb in there.
I don't
Like,
think I've ever used
bubbles.
a bath bomb.
I used to use that.
I've used bubble bath before. Yeah, in my life I have.
I didn't know I felt this way about people who take baths.
You're being closed-minded.
I
Right now.
am I'm
You
admitting
might-
my
you
bias.
might
An
like it.
undiscovered prejudice.
You might like it.
No, I can't fit in baths, PFT.
You're not like a huge freak, Aaron.
I'm not. I'm 6'1", 230.
You can
Dude.
take a bath in like
My
a
feet
nice,
will stick out, fam.
He's broad, bro.
in a nice casino bathtub.
See, that is not the no. Of course, everybody
No,
can fit in
the
a big thing can fit
casino.
one of
That's a
them joints.
hot tub. That's
Facts.
different. That's
Facts.
a jacuzzi.
yeah, it's a,
I put in a big bathtub in my house when we built the
Yeah.
house. In the house,
It's
we're,
nice.
we're in
Are
a
you a
smaller
bath-
house.
so you take
no, we're
baths?
in a smaller house now. But the house when we got money, 3 urinals is a flex. I put in a bathtub that would fit me. Yeah, 3 urinals in my old house.
I got it. I
Urinal
got
does
it.
rock.
I got a
Yeah,
urinal in my
it's-
house.
yeah.
Really?
Oh, it's amazing.
Clem came
That's
over and
fucking
spent the
amazing.
night. He took a picture at each one of my urinals.
Yeah.
Not big ones.
I don't know
Cola
why.
Freshman.
Why you have in the same bathroom?
No, imagine that next to each other.
I- that would-
I would put
that-
in a trough.
that's
No,
your
like the
bathroom.
kids' bathroom, the master, and then the one down the
Okay,
basement.
yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
One in the
cool, though.
master. That's sick.
Yeah, I got a urinal in my mouth.
I just
We had
peed
a
in the
steam shower next to it, and I had them build a bath. You know, they put it into like this, brick enclosure, and I had them run the heating, the baseboard heating around the bath.
See,
That way, I'd crank up the heat in the house, and it would keep the bath hot while I was in it on top of it.
6'5",
6'5",
big
3
hot
bells.
tub with
Yeah.
heating around it. You're in a hot tub, dog.
Yeah. So that was different, and I wound up. I was not using it. Like I didn't use
Not
it
a
as
bath
often.
guy.
And I grew up. I didn't take showers until, I guess maybe 5th, 6th grade. Like when I was growing up to 5th grade, I think I only took baths.
That's what it was. That's where my bias is coming from.
it's a kid
When I
thing.
grew up, yes and no. When I grew up, yeah, as a kid, but sometimes like our water was cut off, and so we had to take sponge baths.
Okay.
And so maybe that's where my bias is coming from.
It's not as relaxed. You think of a bath and it's not.
I
just
think
time for soak.
of a bad time in my life when
Yeah.
I'm taking baths. So maybe that's where my bias is coming from.
That makes sense.
Showers were elegant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't bathe on a regular basis.
I think you're a bath guy. You got a little duck in there and shit.
You're pulling back now.
Only no.
Yeah, you were all about baths 5 minutes ago.
in a nice tub. Hell yeah. In my
Oh,
apartment.
now there's a caveat. To your
I
bath
don't think
thing.
I've taken a bath in a New York apartment since I've been up here. Besides just jumping into like ice cold water. That I
Besides
fell
when
in.
you take one.
No, I do that. I do that just to like bring my core temperature down right after I work out,
Can you just picture him just like
and then I stand
full-fledged
up and I shower afterwards.
jumping both legs into a bath, cannonball style.
Zod does
It's
some
like
good
it's the
TikToks.
Marco. Do you remember the picture of Marco Rubio in the gigantic chair? And it was like the PR guy, Marco, do not sit in that chair. And he's like, wee.
And all my man's wheeze into the bathtub.
Oh, that's funny.
That's a very funny picture, Marco Rubio in this big chair.
Oh man, that's why. Like when you say I take baths, that's what the image I have is. You just, I'm talking about, like right before you jump, you put your arms all the way back,
Yeah.
and then you swing them forward and wee into the bathtub.
I've got a floaty around my waist.
Yo, that shit got me weak, yo.
Oh man, who has more fun than us, huh?
That shit's comedy, dog.
Whatever. Shout out Japanese people for bathing.
If you're gonna stay in Japanese bathrooms, look up toilet meal. Just Google, so Wikipedia for toilet meal. The Japanese would rather eat by themselves inside a toilet stall in a public setting than eat, alone in a cafeteria. Like I think they said to Americans, do you care about? Have you ever eaten in a bathroom? Have you ever eaten in a bathroom stall? In a stall?
Not a stall. I've eaten in a bathroom before.
I don't think I've ever eaten in a stall.
I think it's like 20% of Japanese do it regularly. It's called a toilet meal. Like if you see it, it's like it's.
To be
it's 100%.
fair,
Go ahead.
Their fucking toilets over there
Uh-huh.
are unreal, dog. They have like all kinds of buttons on the side. It's you can gauge the temperature. They got a bidet. It's the comfortability of the curve of it just makes more sense. Their well, that was one of the first things when I went over there. I was like, yo, toilet is high class.
I had one of the swashes, and it was like thing you hit the button and it blew dry your ass hair, like the whole deal. But I think they more than instead of going to work and sitting in the employee cafeteria and eating alone, they'd rather, for a certain degree of honor, eat alone inside of a bathroom stall. Wow. That's wild too. I mean, I worked on the New York Stock Exchange for a while, and it was packed. You didn't get any lunch breaks. It was nothing. Once you started trading, you traded from 9:30 to 4. It was fucking crazy. And right before the bell rang at 9:30, if you all of a sudden had to go and take a dump, I wasn't a broker. My wife was a broker. I was a clerk. I'd go down to the clerk's bathroom, and you never were able to sit down on a toilet that didn't already have somebody else's warmth. And you could smell people eating egg sandwiches like next door to you into something. And I thought that was just one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen.
That's what I'm saying.
So whenever I think of toilet meal, and when I did this, I spoke about it in the other one, it just absolutely grossed me out.
What about the cleanliness of that, as far as like
can't be good
particles going into food?
Not
like,
good.
That's the
thing.
But I mean, at the same time, every time you take a dump and you're on the toilet, you're breathing that shit in for the entire time that you're there.
Whatever,
you're not eating it.
Whatever, man.
You're not eating it. I've definitely I've drank on a toilet before. I've had a toilet beer.
Yeah,
that's like a bar junk.
No, not like at a bar, just like in general at my house.
Oh, I don't think at your house this counts.
Yeah.
It's the shower beer before it becomes a shower beer.
It's the shit beer.
It's the shit beer that then turns into the shower beer.
Yeah,
I'm not a beer guy, so I can't relate. Like, that'd be weird to bring a glass of wine onto the
That's probably the weirdest thing to drink
on
a toilet. Maybe a Capri Sun. No, a Capri Sun would be pretty quick, actually.
There's been plenty of Capri Suns with kids on the toilet.
A nice glass of wine, a nice red, as you're taking a big steamy dump. Yeah, that's probably the strangest combination.
Of cheese and wine. What is charcuterie
board?
Charcuterie
Yeah.
board.
Eating some chicken wings on the toilet.
Can't do it.
Eating soup on the toilet.
No, soup is the worst.
That'd probably be the worst thing. Yeah, big bowl of ramen. What other Japan facts we want to get into?
They used to have huge tombs that were just filled with their enemies' noses and ears.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so monuments were set up for grisly trophies that were known as ear tombs and nose tombs. One such tomb in Kyoto, the Mimizuka, contained tens of thousands of trophies. Another in Okayama held 20,000 noses, but they were returned to Korea in 1992. So like when they'd go on expeditions, they evaded Korea a lot. They in a lot of those invasions, they couldn't. They usually just take heads. That's what was their usual trophy when they were having the fiefdom squabbles on the island. But then once they went to Korea, they were like, we can't ship all these heads back, so they just took ears and noses.
Easier to smuggle back.
Yeah, not smuggled. They were shipping them back.
Kyoto was my favorite place to go to in Japan.
Yeah,
it was just. I think it's modern enough to where you feel comfortable, but also it kept a lot of like culture there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I literally went to a sumo wrestling championship.
Oh yeah.
Shit was fire. I got a whole
awesome.
bunch of it. Matter of fact, I'll send a sumo wrestling video. Y'all can post it. It was just a really dope experience.
I would love to go to Japan. For a long time I didn't really want to go, and it's mostly just because if I travel, let's say to France, I don't really speak French. I know like a small amount. So let's say Italy. I don't speak any Italian. If I went to Italy, I think I would still be able to find my way around, like reading the words and kind of figuring out what all these different places were. Oh, here's a bathroom. Here's how you get to this place. Right. In Japan, with the Japanese characters, I have no frame of reference. So I'd always been like a little bit resistant to traveling to Japan or China or Korea. Now I think I'd like to go.
The depends on the city you go to. So like Tokyo is just New York.
Yeah,
and so you'll be fine over there. It's really dope, but it's very Americanized.
Yeah,
it's the inner cities, like the towns. That's when it gets really, you can't read where you're going and you need help. But the honor system over there is something like I've never seen before. It is unbelievable how much people go out of their way to help you.
That's cool.
Like I've never seen anything. Did I tell the story about the train thing?
You might have. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, long story short, we didn't know where we were going, and this lady, we're not from here, and then we were like deep into Japan. This is not like Tokyo, and we're like, how do we get here? She said, follow me. We followed her. She got on the train. It was like 5-10 minutes, maybe 20. She got us to the right train. Got to say go here, and then she got back on the train and went back to wherever she was going.
Can you imagine somebody doing that in New York?
No, well that's the thing.
Be a psycho,
Bro, I landed here, and like that's the not the service, but the culture that I was accustomed to over there for a while because I stayed there for like a week and a half. But you get used to like people being kind, and it rubs off on you, and like now I'm kind, and I get right back and I land at LAX, and I asked somebody I was like, yo, where's Carousel? He was like, man, I don't know, man, it's over there. And that's the dude that works there. I'm like, welcome home, baby.
Yep.
Japan almost had a nuclear bomb before us.
Okay.
Yeah, so back in 1939, they started their nuclear investigation because everyone around the world was sort of getting a little into nuclear. But if it wasn't for the U.S. Intercepting a 540 kilogram delivery of uranium oxide from the Germans that was getting sent to Japan, their nuclear program may have been able to get a bomb.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
When we dropped the bomb, there was other bombs that they were thinking about, including the bat bomb. Did you hear that thing?
Oh, yeah.
The bat bomb?
No, what's that?
So instead of just dropping a big old nuke on them, we were going to, it was developed by us. There was more than 1,000 compartments in this bomb, and each compartment contained a Mexican free-tailed bat, and on each bat's back was a small incendiary bomb. So they dropped the bomb, 1,000 bats get released. This was right, I guess, around dawn. So the bats, being nocturnal creatures, would all go to roost wherever they could. And you think about like Japanese dojos and stuff like that. They don't traditionally have as many, particularly outside of, Tokyo and whatnot. They have a lot of wooden structures. And then all the bat bombs would go off in one place and cause all these fires. It was supposed to be extremely effective.
Yeah.
But wasn't effective as the fat boy who jumped on them.
Yeah, if you started a fire in Japan back in the 1940s, like in Tokyo, since all their buildings were made out of wood, the wind would just take it across the entire. That's why Tokyo burned to the ground in the firebombing. It's like if one building caught fire, good luck to the next 10 blocks around it. It was going to eventually catch fire. And I think more people died in the firebombing of Tokyo than died in the nuclear blast, right, Billy?
Yeah, there wasn't as much burning with the nuclear blast.
Yeah, because it blew away all the stuff that could have caught fire.
And Arian was saying how nice they are. They have something there called the White Hands, which I had never seen anywhere else in the world. And it's a service that they provide for handicapped people where nurses will come to your house and jerk you off. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah, it's called White Hands. It's a non-profit organization in Nagata, Japan. It's ejaculation help. People with disabilities reach orgasms. So they come, there's no pornography or anything like that, a towel over your lap, then Jersey Jerry comes in, and then they come in with a soft glove, and they beat it. Like Vice TV did something. It's tough to watch. This attractive Japanese woman comes in and beats off this guy with cerebral palsy. But I'd never seen. And then right away I Googled, is there such thing as white mouths? Maybe, like, you know what I mean. But it was just one of those. But I mean, that's sort of taking care of your own, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's an admirable profession.
Cool as shit.
White
Like,
butts?
Because I mean, I think I think on a serious note, like it's funny and shit, but it's like, like everybody deserves to have that release.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just like a very thoughtful thing to do.
I wonder if incels, if there was like a white glove service for incels, if maybe they wouldn't start freaking out all the time and shooting people
I
up.
don't know, Billy. What do you think?
I have no idea.
If incels could just like type in on their computer, like, yeah, okay, I'm ready for my appointment this month, and somebody would stop by their house, jack them off real quick.
There was
The world would probably look a lot more rosy to them.
I agree that, but they need to legalize prostitution. I think that's like a part of it. Like it's low key what that is. And have you ever seen that video of that dude? I don't know where he was. He was at some courthouse, and he was like, I don't know, 16, 17 years old, and he was just like saying you need to legalize prostitution. He was like 2 consenting adults, and the way he did it, it was really dope how he did it. I'll send the video. But it's like there's a case to be made for that. I think if 2 consenting adults are willing to have that exchange,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see an issue with that.
What about anime and hentai? Do you guys watch anime? You got any anime fans in the room?
That was
I have watched Avatar.
Okay, I don't think that's anime.
Ha!
No,
That's where you're wrong.
different
bro.
Avatar.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wait,
we
P-
man,
We discussed this
hentai.
last
we
time.
man jumping in
What?
the wrong bathtub.
That's gonna be a thing.
100%. No, so Avatar actually jacked their name from the original anime series.
Do you know what hentai is?
which-
50?
Is it
Yeah,
an anime?
No,
No, it's porn.
it's anime porn.
That's
Is
like-
it all porn?
yes.
Yeah, it's anime
Oh
porn.
shit! No,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Bonk.
But
You should be bonked. I didn't know what hentai was.
well, why did you say it then?
Yeah, you were looking for that.
No, I wasn't.
Well, why did you say hentai? if you
I
don't
thought.
know?
What about manga? Is manga the
No,
same
no,
as
let's
hentai?
Let's stick with the.
Yeah.
I don't know what manga.
He's
is.
just saying Japanese words
That's
now.
what I'm saying.
Is hentai?
What about Takamoto? That was
What about Bukaki?
Bukaki's not Japanese, is it?
I don't know. Look it up.
Nah, I think that's just a. I know what Bukaki is, but
Oh yeah, it's porn. It's
Oh, yeah.
pornographic
oh,
anime.
I didn't know.
I swear to God, I've never watched hentai before in my life. I have no idea.
I believe
So,
you.
some people
You're
are
not-
like
you're not gonna fence me, man.
are really into it. This is
I believe you, man.
it's a term that refers to pornographic anime and manga. And then on Wikipedia, there's a very graphic.
So you knew what manga was too.
There's a
I've
very-
never heard of manga. I've heard of hentai, but I've never.
Okay, so manga that's graphic novels from
Okay.
Japan. So it's a form
So
of
my little
Japanese.
nephew's like super into anime, like, and so I was like thinking about getting into it because my son is too. He watches what's it, Naruto. Yeah.
Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, because I like to get into what my kids are to like find like a bonding point. And so he told me there's like over 1,000 episodes. I was like, I have to catch him on the next phase of his life because that shit's too much to get into. And so like, but my nephew's super into that shit. There's like a big 3 or whatever. I've never gotten into it, but I've heard of hentai through that, just through researching but I've never heard of manga.
Yeah. Manga it's a form of anime. Look, and there are people that are listening to this that are so pissed off that we don't know shit
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah.
Because they have like a dedicated audience. I did know that anime, like the Japanese style of animation, it has like a lot of a different theme, a lot of different themes than like American cartoons have.
They're
Because-
real. They're deeper.
Yeah, they're deeper,
Yeah.
and there's they're evil characters, but not like cartoonishly evil characters. People that
Anti-heroes.
yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
anti-heroes and
Yeah.
shit. And I did hear something. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they said that some of the people that were responsible for the modern era of anime in Japan, they want to teach kids things that they learn about the world as they get older. So a lot of times there's a certain element of like naivete in American cartoons.
$15 word. Right
Yeah, where the
Go.
world is like very cut and dry,
there. Yeah.
and it's not like some shady characters,
Yeah.
and so it's like trying to teach them about shades of gray, things that they
Yeah.
normally wouldn't learn about until they were much older. In Japanese
I
animation.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. What, Billy?
Godzilla, the goat, Kaiju. Kaiju culture is like the giant
Monsters.
Yeah.
Mothra.
The most famous American Kaiju, King Kong.
Mm-hmm. King Kong versus Godzilla. Who you got?
Well, King Kong wins in the original. It was supposed to symbolize World War II.
Yeah, that's kind of bullshit.
That
though,
new
because
one, the lizard whooped the shit out of Kong.
Godzilla
Yeah.
is way bigger and fiercer than King Kong is.
I think I used to have this argument with my family. The lizard would win.
yes.
I used to bang for Kong, but like the more I read up on Godzilla's, he has like this fire laser shit that it's not even.
Nuclear.
Yeah, nuclear. There you go. Yeah, it's not even close. Like
Yeah.
he's gonna beat the shit out of that monkey.
Godzilla, when he walks around, he's stepping on buildings and shit and
Yeah.
destroying them. King Kong climbed up the Empire State Building like one monkey paw at a time, got up to the top, and he could hold like a woman in the palm of his hand. Godzilla's got to be,
A white woman.
like 10 times bigger
Yeah.
than King Kong, right?
I don't know the height discrepancy.
They make him bigger. They make King Kong bigger in the Godzilla.
Does he
movies.
get nuclear?
I think they bring down Godzilla too. I think
Yeah.
they try to make it.
A little even. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, was not Godzilla I think it was Japanese, right? A Japanese rendition of America, like it was like a metaphor for America.
Yeah, he was created by U.S. nuclear testing in Bikini. I think Bikini Atoll or Godzilla. Godzillasaurus was a dinosaur that was living on a random island in the Pacific, and then the U.S. dropped a bomb on him, and he turned into Godzilla.
Yeah.
And then stomped on Tokyo,
Yeah.
and then they killed him with a nuclear bomb in the original Godzilla movie, the 1954 one.
Yeah, that's what I thought, which is wild because then we then hijacked that in typical American fashion.
What about Japanese game shows? What do you guys know about Japanese game shows?
They're a lot like lowering the bar.
Yeah. Billy, you remember when you lost in that?
Yeah, it sucked
Yeah. Then you almost fought Doug's right afterwards?
because he was being a. Never mind.
Yeah. But yeah, Japanese game show. I love watching like the highlight reels of the weird games that they're very creative. I love Japanese game shows.
We're always late to the party.
So late. We'll
Yeah.
copy it like 15 years later.
Yeah.
What was the one that they had that was just like a slippery mountain that they had to climb up?
That was
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what it was
I
called.
think it was
though.
called Slippery something, like Slippery Slope.
Silent Library. I think was originally a Japanese game show.
What's that?
Oh my god.
You guys don't know what Silent Library is?
No.
On MTV?
No.
It's like completing challenges, and the one thing they have to do is just maintain a certain level of quietness. Like it's in a library, and like not to disturb the librarian.
I've never.
Did y'all watch I Survived a Japanese game show?
No, what's that?
It was just a Japanese game show on American TV, basically.
No.
It was funny. It was probably that was a long time ago.
Ninja Warrior,
But it was
right?
like-
was originally
Yeah.
Japanese too.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like their mount at the end was like real deal, and now ours is only catching up to it. I think.
Yeah.
I think our original American version of American Ninja Warrior was like a pussified version of what they used to do in Japan.
Yeah.
Them motherfuckers is athletes, dog.
Yeah.
Like the body control you have to have for that shit, I could not finish that shit.
Most of those dudes also and women, they build like American Ninja Warrior courses in their backyard.
Yeah.
And they like neglect their families just to
Yeah.
train at the
I got a
game show
homie
for
that could
years.
use it. Neglect the
They definitely do. They always show the behind the scenes of the people training, and it's just like their family standing there supporting the dad as the dad's just like trying to do the salmon stairs in the backyard. Like he's clearly doing that hours every day.
Dad hasn't been home in 3 months.
Yeah, he's trained to become a ninja. Slippery Stairs was the name of it, where they just put a bunch
Okay.
of like dishwashing soap on stairs, and then people had to try to
Yeah.
sprint up them as fast as they
Yeah.
could.
I thought Wipeout was originally, but I guess that's
It
not.
it might have been.
Yeah, I'm looking
Wipeout has that feel too.
Eating meat was illegal in Japan for 1,200 years.
Really?
Yeah.
I will tell you, Japan's the 11th largest, I think, country by population, but it's number 3 as far as consuming Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
Kentucky Fried Chicken did something in the 70s where it was, it did a commercial that was wildly popular, saying to eat Kentucky Fried Chicken on Christmas. And the Japanese didn't have any, like, customs in place like we do, Easter hams, Christmas, whatever, and all that stuff. So now 5% of all chicken sales in Japan happen on Christmas Eve. Like everyone gets buckets of chicken for Christmas. It was called Kuri Sumasu Niwa Kentucky. I think I nailed that. Honestly, I think I fucking nailed that. Kuri Sumasu Niwa Kentucky. Kentucky for Christmas. And so now KFC, 5% of their annual revenue is from Japanese KFCs. 5% of their annual revenue is from Christmas.
That's
Everyone
crazy.
does buckets of chicken on
And-
Christmas in Japan.
Here in America, a lot of people that don't celebrate Christmas, they have Asian food.
Chinese,
On Christmas, yeah.
Jewish people, like
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Wow.
a feast of immediate seating. Yeah, so you go in, right? Yeah. No.
And the movies.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, go to the movies with the family.
And
Kill
then
a
the
couple
dude who
hours.
made Dunkin' Donuts here, his Jewish last name, I can't think of it. It was him and his partner, and they started a donut shop, and then they split and went their separate way. One guy became Dunkin' Donuts here, which is fucking huge, and then the other guy wound up. You figure like he missed out on it, but he has the biggest donut chain in Japan. Like the biggest donut chain in Japan was a direct off of the guy who made Dunks in Boston. Like I don't know, I know that, but yeah, fast food is huge over there.
What else we got?
Do we want to talk about Nanking?
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. You want to start?
Oof, I guess. Nanking was a I don't know why it's not more widely known. And to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Lars, but to me, a lot of like the disposition in Japan seems like they're, I want to phrase this the right way, but a lot of the cultural customs to me seem like they're atoning for their atrocities, and like they kind of own it in a way.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah, now that's what I'm talking about now.
Right.
Because Japan, the history is a lot more brutal than I think the average person knows. And so, like, an example of that is Nanking, the massacre. Well, a lot of people call it the rape of Nanking. It was a military situation where it was in 1937. Japanese army invaded Shanghai, and they literally, and it wasn't like, I don't know how you soften genocide, but it wasn't like a regular, when you read about where it's just killing people. It was very brutal how they did it. I mean, they took, what are those guns called with knives at the end?
Bayonets.
So they took bayonets, and they were like, they would like round people up and like cut pregnant women. They would throw babies up in the air, and they would catch them on the bed. It's like, this is all documented. I'm not just like making this shit up. They would, and there was like anywhere from like 20,000 to 80,000 rapes, like literal. They would just gather women, old women, little kids, 6-year-olds, and rape them. And there were mass murders, hangings. It was a game to a lot of the soldiers, to where they were like, they would get extremely drunk and like just, okay, go get that one, go get it was just like it was just a very grotesque, the worst like human atrocities like could be summed up in this kind of thing. And it's
6 weeks long.
6 weeks long.
Yeah. And that was not even World War II. That was before. It was like the Sino-Japanese War.
Yep.
The Japanese had so much hatred towards the Chinese that once they had gone in there and taken Nanking, they were said, do whatever the hell you want. So they were having like those contests to see who could kill somebody, who could kill 100 people quicker with a single sword.
Yep.
Fathers being forced to watch their kids being forced to have sex together.
Yeah.
Everything that you could think of. And that was one of my points before I got in here. I spoke to you about it, PFT. There's like an argument that the Japanese were much worse than the fucking Nazis. And
This is to that point. I don't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But there was what is his name? I wrote it down. When you get to the point where there was a good guy Nazi in the situation, that's what happened. There's a dude by the name of John Rabe who was literally in the Nazi party, and he was said to have saved like thousands of Chinese people, who literally went in there and like negotiated, okay, don't do that. Who like literally bring people out, and he was saving Chinese captives from the Japanese murders, and he was a Nazi.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
And they didn't take any responsibility for it for decades. And like we did something on Black Wall Street, the bombings in Oklahoma,
Right.
which was an absolute travesty. And I was speaking to Alex Bennett about it, and she was like, that wasn't taught in our textbooks either. Growing up in Oklahoma, like we didn't know about that shit. And that's a stain on American history.
Right.
But most of the bigger stains on our history, slavery being one of them, obviously, is taught, so much and in different ways, and people argue about which ways it should be.
Right.
But in Japan, a lot of that stuff was on the rug. So like you can even Google Japanese apologies for, what had gone on, in Nanking before World War II and then World War II and beyond. Like Unit 731, I urge people to look up Unit 731, and it was as bad, if not worse, than anything that went on with Joseph Mengele and the Nazis doing all these testing on Jewish people and gypsies and whatnot. What these people did in Unit 731 was fucking. And the thing is, Arian was a gentleman to not read a lot of the stuff. Yeah. But it's blood curdling, absolutely blood curdling.
And when you get into it and you read up on it, it's like the worst shit that you can possibly think of happens.
It's like when a horror movie director sits down to write different scenes, and they have to go to some weird places because you want to have like different ways to be gory in new movies. So what can we do to shock a new audience? It's like that's what their assignment was, except it was actually to do it to real people.
Yeah.
It's like how depraved can you possibly get with this?
Kyushu University might be in Japan. If you look up their brochure, we're the third biggest university in Japan. We have the biggest this, all that. They'd never mention that, like 8 U.S. airmen were captured, brought there, and they wound up vivisecting them. Like, you know what I mean? I think some of the
It's
doctors
a live dissection?
Yeah, and I think some of the doctors like ate their lungs or something. Like, and Japan was one of those people, like we had said earlier, about the no retreat, no surrender. They'd rather you die than surrender. So they never really bought into a lot of these like agreements to treat prisoners of war with any kind of respect, because they didn't have respect for them. So it was, it wasn't even war crimes in their minds when they were doing this stuff to, like he had said, they killed 300,000 people and they raped another 80,000 in the span of 6 weeks. It's a big fucking number, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and it even affected where I brought this point up. Nazi Germany had Lagerbordels, right? So they had these bordellos, these whorehouses that they would fill with Jews, right? Like concentration camps, and they would service Germans, right? But those girls that were put in and made to be prostitutes, for the most part, they survived the war, like, because they were never sent to the ovens, and then when they were liberated, they were liberated. They survived the war. And who was it? Himmler, right? He was the second most powerful guy in the Third Reich. Like, Himmler's like, we need bordellos in every fucking concentration camp because we want the guys to be happy, more productive, and not gay. Like, that's what they wanted from that. Conversely, in World War II, they bumped up the number of prostitutes real big after Nanking because they didn't want that stain to happen again. But unfortunately for the comfort women in Japan, they were called comfort women.
Comfort women.
I think 90% of them were killed.
Yes.
And the 10% that survived were fucking ruined in ways that you can't even mention on a podcast.
There's a really good exhibit at the Museum of Sex in New York City. They actually have a whole exhibit on comfort women and their experiences.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
There were also comfort men back in the day. So like hundreds and hundreds of years ago, there were whorehouses that it would be men that would do like woman face. And so they would dress up, they would put the makeup on, they would dye their teeth black, which is another crazy thing. That used to be considered a beautiful thing, is the geishas and the comfort women in Japan used to stain their teeth intentionally dark black as they could get. And that was like, oh, look at her beautiful smile. There were also, like, it was very common to have men dressed up as women running these houses by themselves, and then dudes would come in. Guys who would consider themselves to be otherwise straight would be like, well, we're just going to go out for the night, and this is our version of a whorehouse. Yeah, it's guys, but they're dressed as women, so it's totally straight. Yeah.
Japanese didn't revile homosexualities like the Germans did. So the comfort gays, like, they would go in particularly to like theater troupes, which had like, as Billy would say, hard drinking homosexuals.
It's party house.
And they would take them then as these forced prostitution to serve gay Japanese soldiers.
Yeah, it's basically just a frat house, Billy. Just go and throw
Guys being dudes.
Throw back a few beers with the boys.
Sausage fest.
Yeah.
The UN's Global Tribunal on Violations of Women's Human Rights estimated that at the end of World War II, 90% of the comfort women had died. And those who survived, no surprise, became fucking outcast by no fault of their own.
Yeah.
They weren't they were drafted into becoming forced prostitutes. So not good.
Yeah, where the Imperial Japanese and the Nazis sort of agreed ideologically was that they were way superior to any of the other countries around them.
Yeah.
So that's why they didn't see the Chinese as humans. They
Yeah.
didn't see the Koreans as humans. And actually, this dates back throughout their history because the Japanese had a large slave trade where they traded Korean slaves and Chinese slaves. So much so that the Portuguese missionaries were trying to stop the activity in 1571, and basically Japan only banned slavery when they found out that Japanese slaves were also being sold into slavery by other Japanese
That
people.
was the bridge too far?
And so this one guy, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a Japanese warlord and leader, was furious about the trade while while ironically having no problem with enslaving Koreans during the Korean invasions he launched in the 1590s, Hideyoshi was vocal about ending the trade in Japanese slaves. In 1587, he issued a ban that outlawed the practice, although the sale of Japanese slaves did persist for some time afterwards. And the Portuguese played a role in that slave trade.
Yeah, they definitely, in order to do something like the war crimes that they've committed, they have to have that sense of these people are not human. They're not like me at all. Like the Nazis with Jewish people, they were like, they're bugs. And so they told people, that was a propaganda effort that was like trying to demonize them, make them seem like they, exterminate them is what they were saying. And so, yeah, it sounds like in Japan, they have that view basically, or they had that view of anyone that was not from Japan. So I wonder why they were able to work with the Germans.
Well, the Germans, that relationship is kind of weird, but basically it was like all of the Japanese's enemies in the Pacific were also the Germans' enemies. So you had, the English,
they bonded
French.
over hating the same people.
Yeah, and basically they were so far away that they didn't really have to work with them.
Yeah.
So
I think that's sometimes stronger than having. Like, I think my wife and I have a great relationship because we hate the same people, not like the same things.
Yeah, talk shit about them.
Yeah, I think that helps out.
I mean,
Yeah, like
reality show bonding.
I get along with Max on Part of My Take because, like, he's an Eagles fan, yeah, but fuck the Cowboys, you know? That bond to me is stronger than hating Eagles fans.
but like look at Russia and China right now. They're slowly getting closer and closer, like because they both hate the U.S.
They're also in a situation where it's like they're the last two people at the party right now. It's like, well, you're looking better and better to me.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a woman in 500 days.
They got war
you're
goggles
looking pretty
on.
hot. Yeah, they got war goggles. Exactly.
So at the end of it, I think it totaled. It's hard to count how many people actually died in the rape of Nanking, but historians and scholars kind of agree it's around 200,000 people or maybe more, which is wild in that amount of time. It's a massacre. It's a genocide.
Yeah.
It's an absolute. It's just wild to see that happened. And they found out later that the Japanese army and the military and the government concealed records of everything that went on.
That to me is wild about war. How you can have something like concentration camps or this genocide, and there's people like breaking out spreadsheets and marking
Documenting
everything down. Yeah.
Well, that's how we know Christopher Columbus was a piece of shit. He kept a diary.
Yeah.
I think subconsciously you kind of know you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like your confession. And so like Christopher Columbus, and that's why like it'd be killing me with that whole woke shit. It's like, yo, he was one of the bigger pieces of shits in history. And so it's like, and he said it. He rewrote it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, but it's wild that people do keep it. But like I said, I think it's just one of those things where you got to get it off your chest somewhere.
You know what's really fucked up? The only reason, like, this type of military action, like what the rape of Nanking was, one of the only reasons we know about it was because of the proximity to Shanghai, in which was I think was a British colony. So there's a lot of Westerners in the area to actually record what happened. This might have happened regularly in other Japanese excursions.
Well, that's
in China.
That's what I'm saying. In the early parts of Japan, like they were conquerors, dog. Like that's what they did. Like even in Japan when they had the lockdown, and before that, like they were wild, dog. Like, and you don't really hear about it because you think of Japan kind of as docile, and you think of them as, but their history is riddled with shit like this.
super polite.
Yeah, and I think if you hold if you check every country's resume,
Yeah.
they're gonna have shit like this because it was just a wild time to be a human, man. But
Humans are kind of pieces of shit.
I don't
Everybody
fuck with
was.
them.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with them.
You mentioned diaries a second ago. Just want to ask people in the room, does anybody here keep a diary?
I've tried because my dad was like, son, you need to keep a diary. He writes in his like almost every day. I just don't have the discipline to do it every day.
Does he write just like only the facts? Here's what I did today, or does he write his thoughts down?
His thoughts and shit that he's done, which is gonna be cool. Like if he ever, when he passes, if he ever wants to let us in, like, it would be cool to see who my dad was, right? But I don't have the discipline. Like I found a diary I wrote in college actually, and it was like 3 days. But it was dope to hear what I was thinking and where I was during that time. I wish I would have continued it. I encourage people to do that actually, but I just don't have the discipline.
Think about this. our Twitter feeds are gonna be like historical record and diary.
That's facts.
Oh, really?
Like for example, like
Trolling is a part of your.
My grandkids are gonna be like, hey, my grandfather really fucking loved Joe Flacco. It's kind of weird.
will they understand it was a bit?
Probably not, because probably not. Maybe.
I think
I don't know. Like, if you found your grandfather's diary and he was writing satirically in it, do you think you would understand
there's
the
no way
layers
to
of
know.
irony if you didn't grow
Yeah.
up in that era and understand all the cultural context behind it?
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Yeah.
how many things do we think were actually bits in the history book that didn't actually happen?
That people didn't realize were jokes?
Yeah, like what if that like
What if Nam King was
no,
a,
not
was a bit?
no, that's fine.
What if Chris Columbus was just joking?
No, not that. I'm like thinking
Yeah.
like, what if that whole ear, like cutting off people's ears and putting them in a temple was all a bit?
Just to
Didn't
scare
actually do it.
people, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, imagine the confusion on people's faces when, 200 years from now, they're watching Nick Adams videos.
Yeah.
This guy really wanted to fuck the green piece of candy. Australians were sexually attracted to candy with boots.
I guess you do tend to look at history through that lens. Like, everybody's so fucking serious, but I bet you it was
Yeah.
just a bunch of smart asses too.
Big T, you keep a diary?
No,
Have you ever?
not that I recall. No.
Is this a chick thing?
I have a journal.
Mad Dog McKinsey?
I have a journal that is like prompted, so it gives me prompts to write about like every morning and night.
Every day? You do it twice a day?
Yeah, it's like it's your 5-minute journal, and it's like 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things you're looking forward, like what would make today great, 3 things that would make today great.
It's like Eat, Pray, Love vibes, man.
yeah, and then it's like a daily affirmation, and like something else.
Have you ever gone back and read it?
It was like one of my New Year's resolutions, so it's only been a couple months.
Okay.
So not really. Like I haven't changed that
Stay
much.
with it. I think in like a
Yeah.
couple years, you're gonna be like, oh, wow,
Yeah, and
that's where
it's
I
like
was.
2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes at night, and so it's not like I'm like divulging my whole heart out.
Do you do it when you're drunk?
That would be
Like
My sister did that.
Put the microphone on her.
Like drunk journal, and it was like the funniest thing ever. We would like go back. It was like in college. And so she would like literally just get home drunk and like write stuff in the journal, and it was like the funniest thing ever.
I would just get embarrassed to go back and read like my drunk journaling.
Yeah, I think it was like we were all like, well, she was drunk, so we were like didn't really like judge her or anything.
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
that's kind of what I want to do. One of my like bucket list things I really want to do is I probably should start it soon. Is like to have a video diary for my kids, like when I leave. And so like start at like I'm 36 right now, so I like start it now,
Mhm.
and then like every year have something to say, or every 6 months update it. Like this is where I'm at, this is what I feel, this is advice I give to y'all, and they can see me age, and they can see like how your dad's thoughts progressed, and that would be dope for them to always like have. I think.
yeah,
That would be dope.
Billy, you looked like you were going to say something there about the journaling.
I wish drunk tweeting was as acceptable as drunk journaling.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same thing. It's just writing it to yourself.
Yeah, no, I'm joking.
Yeah. Large, did you ever keep a diary?
No, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd gotten something like Mad Dog had. Somebody had sent me one of those, almost like a gift, and they would prompt me with questions. I couldn't get into it. Like it almost,
As an
forced you to
obligation.
do it. Yeah, it seemed like more of like I was making it up. What 3 things to? What 3 things are going to move the needle today? So,
Yeah.
all that
It's
shit,
like an
yeah.
assignment. that you
Yeah,
do, like homework.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever kept a journal, and I actually recommend this, if you go on a vacation,
Mhm.
it's good to keep a journal when you go on a vacation because you just lose track of the days and you forget all the shit that you did.
Right.
But if you just write down everything that you did today and what you experienced and how you felt when you were doing these certain things, then you can go back and read it and you're like, oh yeah, I would have completely forgotten about that time that I was on a bus in Ecuador and somebody sliced into my backpack with an X-Acto knife and took my Adidas shoes out.
God damn.
Yeah.
That happened?
The guy was fucking good. Like, respect to whoever
man.
stole my shoes.
Yeah.
Great journal entry.
My backpack was underneath my seat and I was on a bus. Didn't even know that the guy took my backpack at all. He was sitting behind me. And I remember at one point his buddy like leaned over and messed with the window next to where I was at. So I turned and I was like, why is this guy trying to mess with my window? And it looked like he was trying to bring it down. And then he just gave up on that and went and sat back down. Like 5 hours later, I get my backpack getting off the bus. That guy had gotten off probably like 3 hours before. And I'm like, well, this feels light. My shit's not in here. And then there's a little slit in my backpack. And he had just reached in and stolen a full pair of shoes out. Now, granted, they are like dwarf shoes. So he probably just used tweezers to just pull them out real quick. Wee shoes. But yeah, like stuff like that you might not remember. It's cool to keep a journal on vacation if you have the time.
This is a hot take. What is your cap on vacation days? I'm at like a 3-day max before I'm like, I want to go home. And that don't matter where I'm at. I get sick of where I'm at. Is that just me?
I can do a longer. I like doing one longer vacation each year.
Okay.
Where you can get somewhere, kind of settle in for a little bit.
Yeah.
Take a couple day trips from wherever that location is.
I think that change, the change of scenery makes it a little bit more palatable. Like, so when I went to Japan, I went for like a week and 10 days, and we would go like 2 days here, 2 days here. That makes it a little bit more palatable. But even then, I got to a point, maybe 5 days, where I'm like, God, I kind of just missed the crib.
Yeah, if I'm in one spot, I get restless.
Yeah.
But if I'm moving around a little bit, I can handle it.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even matter, like island vibes, city, whatever the feel like. I get to a point, and it could just be me. And a little privilege talking, but I just get to a point where I'm like, yeah, I'd rather be home.
My only exception to that is I could be drunk on a beach for probably 2 weeks.
See, I hate the beach though.
Yeah,
I can't do that. Other than you hate the beach for a different reason than I do, right? I'm big, fat, and white, but like I can't be anywhere like for more than 4 days away from home. I just did the Bahamas and it was gorgeous. Yeah, it was ideal. And I had to get the fuck out there after 4 nights.
What's your cat, Big T?
I can be on vacation forever. Listen, for you,
same place though. Like if you went to, let's say you went to a beach, like you were in Bahamas, you could be 10 days.
I do enjoy doing more stuff than like my girlfriend will go and just sit on the beach and read a book for 8-10 hours. Right. I can't do that. I've got to like go do something. Yeah. But yeah, I could be on vacation.
What about
you going home is still vacation. You go to your nice ass house.
You play golf.
You go play golf every day. That's still vacation. You're like, I want to go back to the vacation at my house. Touché. When I have to leave vacation, I go back to my shitty apartment and work.
Touché, brother. Touché.
Big T, what about a cruise ship? How long could you be on a cruise ship?
So I was on a cruise over Christmas, and that does get, I mean, the room is just tiny. So like that sucks. But I mean, listen, all the shit you can do on a cruise ship, I mean, that's Big T Central.
That's one thing I want to do. Is I've never gone.
You can go to the casino when you get tired of the casino. You go to the bar when you get tired of the bar. You go to the trivia when you get tired of trivia. You go to the show when you're done with the show. You go to karaoke when you're you can go play basketball. Like you can just do anything you want. Mm-hmm. That's Big T thrives on a cruise ship.
If you were put in like the best suite on a cruise ship.
Oh, then put me out to sea.
Sail
sure.
the world forever.
I'll just keep sailing. Absolutely.
Big T and Greta. Handshake.
No.
Yeah.
No. No.
Yeah. Building bridges.
I just wanted to say this. MLB games are now 30 minutes quicker than last year. That translates to a loss of $280,000 to $1.1 million in beer sales throughout the season, depending on the stadium. So several teams, the Brewers, Twins, Diamondbacks, and Rangers, have already extended their beer sales deadline from the 7th inning to the 8th inning. So we were right.
Yeah.
Which actually shows that whole rule is bullshit, because you're selling it toward the end of the game, which shows that like then you shouldn't be doing it at all if it doesn't matter.
Fuck it. This is the land of the free, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
If we want to drunk drive home, that's our no. Don't drunk.
So it turns out the reason they made that law had nothing to do with drunk driving. It had to do with the Cleveland Browns bottle incident.
Hey.
Really?
Yeah, in the 1970s. Yeah, that's what an article I was reading was saying. It had nothing to do with drunk driving.
It's just the fans were getting too drunk.
They didn't want the fans to get too drunk, or was it the Cleveland or the dollar beer? It's something to do with Cleveland.
Dime beer night.
There's dollar beer night, or
dime
10
beer
cent
night.
beer night. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why they did away with they didn't want the fans drunk all game.
There was another incident. I think this was on a cheap beer night that they had in Kansas City. Do you remember when the father? Was it? I want to say maybe the White Sox.
Are you talking about the disco demolition?
No, father and son. attacked the first or third base coach during a game, and they were hammered and shirtless. They both ran onto the field and assaulted him, like actually knocked him down and shit. And people had to come out, run out on the field, and
It's been
stop
a bad
these
call,
guys.
man.
Did y'all see Dollar Dog Night last night at the Phillies game?
I did.
Dollar
yeah.
Dog Night. This sounds. I love the
It
sound
was
of this. What is
dollar
this?
hot dogs, obviously.
Oh,
the
damn.
lines were crazy long, and then people were just like they were pelting each other in the crowd with them.
With hot dogs.
Yeah.
That's a sausage fest.
Hey.
That's good, Billy. Okay, I was.
We need a soundboard, bro. That was a womp, man.
Come on, it was right there.
It was, but you didn't have. It was low hanging fruit.
It was teed up for me.
I was kind of.
You whiffed.
I was kind of right about
I
this.
blasted that.
Somebody laughed at that.
It was funny.
Yeah, somebody laughed at it.
It's one of Billy's better ones. It was 2002. White Sox Royals.
It's his face after he makes the joke. It's a sausage.
That would have hit with a different crowd.
Am I right, guys?
Everybody out there that laughed at Billy's joke, let him know.
Thanks.
I thought it was a good joke. But yeah, they attacked the first base coach, Tom Gamboa, during a meaningless late season game. And father and son ran onto the field at Comiskey Park, and they jumped him. And they found a pocket knife. One of them had a pocket knife.
I think
Oh
father-son crime duos are the funniest things ever.
Yeah, no, there's
just
nothing
like-
like bonding with your kid by committing some.
Like
light
they
assault.
probably have a better relationship than most father-sons because they're doing stuff together.
That's true.
But like it's just crime.
Make up your mind. Like, do you want an absentee father, or do you want
Yeah.
do you spend quality time with your child?
I think the reason, they're trying to destroy fatherhood is that they don't want so many crimes to be committed. I think that's what it is.
What do you think about drinking with your kids?
Same as committing crimes.
Oh, I actually have a strong take about this. I encourage my kids to drink early, but with me, so that it's what my parents did with me. Well, my mom. It's because I want you to know how you feel when you're drunk, and I want you to be in a safe enough space to experience that while you experience it, so that when you are out and alone, you know your limits, you know what you can and can't do, and you know, hey, I need to call somebody. And this is the one thing I love about how my mother raised me was, she wasn't like the big red button. You cannot drink, you can't do drugs. She was like, I know you're gonna experiment. If you in a position to where you need a ride home, call me. I don't care what time it is. You're not in trouble. I just want you home safe. It's because she lost 2 of her siblings. So my uncle and my auntie both died in drunk driving accidents, and so she was like super adamant about getting us home safe. She don't care the circumstances, and so I took that, and she gave us a lot of freedom growing up, but also allowed us to experience a lot, so that it wasn't a big deal when I was around it. So cats that were experiencing it for the first time, they did a lot of dumb shit, whereas I was drunk with my mother and my father the first time, and it wasn't a big deal when I got around my friends, and so I was able to do it in a responsible way.
How old are your kids?
My oldest is 13. I'm not saying get him drunk right now. I'm
No.
saying, well, see, my daughter has had a sip of wine. I let her have a sip of wine. She didn't like it, and but she experienced it with me, and that's what I appreciated about it.
I gave my kid, so before he went off to college, he was still in high school. My oldest is 18, about to turn 19. And I gave him a bunch of shots, like so he could try all different alcohols.
Right.
And I gave him the worst,
yeah,
the warmest.
Rumple
We'll start with vodka. This pop off.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to the warmest tequila I could find and stuff. And then I also had gotten one of those vapes, like not dab pen or anything like that, just so he could sort of like learn how, if he doesn't want to inhale it, like, and all that stuff. And I've always had them like casually drink with me, and like even my middle guy, he's a throwback and Finnegan.
Yeah.
He's a throwback kid. He's the greatest. I'd gotten him like a Zippo and a cigar holder because we smoked cigars together. He's 15, about to turn 16. And when I went to go buy him, the girl at the Harley Davidson store where I was buying it, because it's kind of cool shit, she's like, "Oh, it's for your son. How old is he?" And I was like, 15. She's like, 15? You think that's good parenting? I was like, "What were you doing when you were 15? She's like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it." But the reason I ask is because we're going down to Talladega next week, and for the race, and while I'm down there, me, Spider, Liam, and probably like Cody, I'm gonna jump up Tuscaloosa with Mick because my son's a freshman in Alabama, and my son's like, "Yeah, come to the frat house, we got a Croatian DJ coming and stuff like that. Like, where do I draw the line there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these kids a lot of them are, underage and whatnot. Like, I can't have Cody, like, doing a lot of social with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I
that
think
whole thing.
I think partying with them is different than drinking with them.
I think it also depends on what you call party.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I'll be at the Pike House with a Croatian DJ. Can't get more granular than that.
Yeah, well,
Just
that's
don't do lines
so
with
like,
them.
so like,
Yeah.
I guess the closest I've gotten to partying with my people was when I was in the league. My dad, it was like late night. It was after one of the games, and I was like, "Hey, pops, come out with us, man."
Yeah.
And to me, it was a very good bonding experience because at that time I was mature enough to. I've been around that lifestyle so long, but it was really dope to see my dad in that element because I heard stories, and it was good to see him loosen up and have a good time. But I think he was also aware that he's still my dad, so he has to maintain some kind of semblance of like a this is my son and I got to keep it together.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think if he was standing on a bar top swinging a shirt and shit, hollering at 20-year-olds, I'd be like, come on, fam. Yeah. I think if you keep that in mind, as long as like you don't want to lose the respect of your kid doing anything wild, but if you have some drinks, loosen up and have a good time with his friends, I think that's a great bonding moment because I had a good time with my pops.
Yeah, I remember the first time I got drunk with my dad. We went to a beer festival together.
How old are you?
I was 20. I think I was 21 at the time. Like I'd had beers. He bought me beer for the first time when I was actually going to Ireland. I think I was 15. And so he's like, well, you're going to go over and have some beers in some pubs. So here's what beer tastes like. I didn't tell him that I'd already stolen his alcohol before. But that's kind of like, it's the same thing where you want to learn how to do it in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
And also the attitude that a lot of people have is like no beer at all until you're of age. And then you don't know how to handle yourself once you
Piss the bed, get alcohol poisoning, like all that
Yeah,
shit. Yeah,
and
like these freshmen in college.
And it becomes a go wild moment too,
Yeah.
Yep.
where it's like, oh shit, this is awesome. I finally get to cut loose and go balls to the wall. Most of the kids that I knew in college that had a hard time with alcohol, dropped out of school or flunked out or whatever, it was because they were forbidden from drinking alcohol, and then they just went 0 to 100 with it immediately. But
Preacher's daughter syndrome.
But if you have it in the house and you make it not that big of a deal, and you have a glass of wine or a beer or two with dinner when you're 16, 17, it completely takes the stigma away from it, where you're able to handle yourself a little bit better. But I didn't get actually drunk with him until I was 21 because he always had that like you were saying, you always want to be like in control. So we went to a beer festival together. And
Had a good time, right?
Had a great time with it, yeah. I remember when I actually went to Ireland, I went with my mom, and we went out to a bar the first night, and I drank a lot of beer. And the next morning, my mom was like, that's incredible that you were able to like hold yourself together your first time drinking alcohol. And I was like, yeah, Mom.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Luck of the Irish.
There was this one time, so my freshman year of college, my parents moved out of the house that I grew up in, and we were about to sell it, but I had that house to myself basically for that entire summer.
Turn up.
So that was the house to go to. And one night my dad came over because he was like stopping by in the neighborhood or whatever, and he brought a 6-pack of beer for me. Or he said that he was going to do this. I forgot that he was going to do it. I had some friends over, and we were playing like beer pong in the living room. And I get a knock at the door, and it's my dad. And I'm like, oh shit, we got to get all this beer out of here. So my friends take all the beer, they go out into the backyard, and they just wait. My dad comes in, and he's got a 6-pack of beer, and he's like, I figured we could have some of this beer together. I was like, yeah. Well, I wasn't planning on drinking tonight, Dad, but sure. Yeah, I forgot you were going to stop by. So we started drinking beer in the kitchen, and then maybe 10 minutes later, my friends who were outside, they're like, well, we're just stuck outside here. We have no place to go. Let's just go back in and say hi to his dad and hang out for a little bit. They knock at the door, and my dad looks at me. He's like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Yeah, that's my friend." He's like, "Hide this beer." So we had to do the exact same thing twice in a row.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I would say about it, you have to be careful, is I'm a big proponent of your children measure your parenthood, and they will give you your receipts. And so if you're getting drunk with your kids, them feelings start to flow. If you haven't done, or whatever the case may be, they will eventually spill that to you. Like, just be ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm very big on like, however your kids felt, that's a validated feeling. Like, you don't have to agree with it, but that conversation might pop up while you're drunk. And if you're not in the mind state to have that conversation about your shortcomings as a parent, then I would say don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you guys one more question because this is a parenting
Great
thing.
fucking
It's
question.
gonna hit you on in a couple of years. So my kid graduated high school last year, and everyone has high school graduation parties in town. And every parent there would be like, "Hey, Mick's coming over to the house, graduation party. Just so you know, we're gonna have a keg." And so no one's driving. If you're okay with it, are you okay if he has a couple of beers? And a lot of the parties Andy and I were invited to, so we were there. We could see the kids doing the karaoke and getting a couple of beers and doing beer pong, and it was fine with us. It was very, very controlled. And I think most parents who had heard, "Oh, there's gonna be a keg at a graduation party," I think you'd be okay with it, right? With your kid when they graduate in high school.
My only I wouldn't give a shit at all. But my only thing would be if it got out of control, the liability lies on the parents of that house.
Yep.
Legally, and so I wouldn't do it at my house.
I would never do it in my house because I work for Barstool.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want someone taking a picture being like, "This is in Large's backyard with a bunch of 18-year-old kids."
Yeah.
And I've told my son that. I was like, "So I'm giving you leeway. This won't ever happen in my house." So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
My point is now that weed is legal, like what happens if when Finnegan graduates in 3 years and the parents are like, "Listen, we're just going to have a couple of joints out. We're going to have a couple of bongs." And it's the same exact thing. It's the same exact illegal for his age versus it. Where would you guys be at? Because I think we all agree that we'd let our kids maybe go to a controlled keg party. Would you let your kids go to a controlled weed party?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because an 18-year-old, what's the legal limit? Is it 21 to buy pot?
Yeah.
Huh.
I
It's
would-
definitely
I would.
different. I don't know why I would look at it in a different way, but people who used to get high, I had some friends that would get high with their parents, like later on in high school and then in college. That always seemed weird to me.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear something you're not factoring in? So growing up in this generation with weed nowadays would just I don't think you guys grew up with this, but people would just green out at parties. We call it greening out. And you literally no, because the weed's so strong. You have high school kids trying it for the first time.
What happens when you green out?
You just literally they pass out. They just get too high. They start shaking, getting anxious, and sometimes we like with a bunch of pillows and blankets, lock a dude in a dog cage just because he was tweaking out, just because we want to have a good time.
I ain't that old, Billy, where we've had people freak out on weed before.
Yeah, but your bring back mids generation, this stuff, some guys would take one hit and just freak out. So weed wasn't
we
that.
breezed past way too quickly. We would lock some guys in a dog cage.
Yeah, dog
We certainly
cage.
did.
Because they'd tweak out, and it was we don't want this guy to hurt himself. We don't know what's going
Better
on.
put him in the dog cage.
Let's just put him in just so he can chill out.
One time it was at our house actually in college, and my dude who lived with us used to sell weed, and so he used to go on runs all the time, and so he was the plug. People used to knock on the door and get weed. Very dangerous for my position, but we did it. And one time we had this little function, and this shorty, she starts smoking, and she wigs out. Green. I've never heard greened out before. We just called it yo, you tripping. And all of a sudden she get it's in rotation, and she gets up, and she just goes.
Starts acting like a chicken.
She starts clucking like a chicken all around the house, and we yo, get your mans. What the fuck? I got scared because I'm yo, what's in the weed? Is this more than weed? But it wasn't. He sold mid, and so she was just bugging out, and she was just acting like a chicken, and that shit fucked me up because I thought I was oh shit, this is something else. That shit was funny as hell.
She probably grew up reading weed propaganda, where if you smoke pot, you might be liable to freak out or eat a baby or something like that. And so it's in her head, and she's like, "Oh my god, it's turned me into a chicken."
Well, I think what happens is this is what happens with weed that I noticed growing up, because I used to smoke a lot. Was weed takes you to your truest self, when you're alone or you're a kid. And so if you're in an environment where you're around people who you kind of not comfortable with, that's where the freak out comes. It's I can't be me, and I feel so uncomfortable, and then it's just that freak out comes. And I've had a lot of times where have you ever smoked and you smoking with somebody, and you high, and you look at them damn, I never realized how lame you were, or how cool, you're kind of whack as a human. And then I'm sober and I can't unsee it. You really see people's true self. I think that's what happens more than anything. I don't think it's any kind of
Did you smoke in front of your kids?
Nah, that one I
Did you
won't
drink
do.
in front of your kids?
I would drink it for my kids. Yeah.
So we're not there yet. We're
As
not.
a society.
Well, no, that's just personally.
I'm the same way. I'm asking you guys because I'm the oldest and I'm a drinker. I'm not a smoker.
Well,
at all.
I think that's what it is. I think if I was so I got a homeboy who is he wakes and bakes. Like that's all he does.
Right.
Like, if I was him, like I wouldn't have an issue with smoking for my kids. But I tend to be extremely introverted when I smoke. I don't want to be around people.
Okay.
And so like I just like putting on a movie and zoning out. And so if I have shit to do, I don't like smoking. But drinking, I'm a little more social and I'm a little more controlled. I feel.
We should drink sometime.
What you doing? Oh, I can't right now.
Mad Dog, you drink with your dad. I'd seen it happen. Would you ever smoke with your pop? Right? Like, isn't that something? I went to your live show, which I enjoyed very much, and I was drinking with Mad Dog's dad. He's a very nice guy.
the best,
yeah.
Yeah. He's a fucking mess, though. I'll tell you what. He's good, right? I don't like. It's not. I don't like. I don't trust him. So like, you can go and have a couple drinks with your pop.
Yeah.
Unzipped, yeah.
I was gonna say in college, I think I've mentioned before, I didn't drink in high school, which kind of is the
Nerd.
way. Yeah, exactly. I was such a fucking nerd, and so, I got to college. My parents dropped me off at college, and then they came back to visit, and then they were like, "Let's go hard." So I drank with them and partied with them in college. They would come to frat parties with me all 4 years, and I would drink with them. Neither of them smoke, and I don't really either. So it wouldn't have like even been a thing for me to smoke with them. Knowing them, I don't think they would feel comfortable smoking with me if that was even a thing. But my parents, as soon as, and now with my brother too, that's like a couple years younger than me, they're really, really okay with drinking in front of us now. But I was terrified because they were big drinkers in high school, and they were like, "You're gonna ruin your life if you drink in high school." And they scared me straight. But I don't think I'd want to smoke in front of my parents. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's more like I wouldn't want to do it in front of them.
Yeah.
Because when I take like 3 chi edibles, like I just like want to go to bed.
You know?
Like I'm not like fun to be around. Like I don't like
That's
do
the
anything
greatest way to
fun.
put it, yeah.
Mhm.
So it's not like something where I'm like, let's all take edibles and like take a nap. Like that's
Yeah,
I think that's a
I'd love
personality
to do
thing.
that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with my parents being high, but I agree with you. Like me being high, while my parents were also high.
yeah.
But drunk's okay.
But drunk's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So
not drunk. Like I'm just saying. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
I've
a couple in
been
you.
blacked
Yeah.
out with my
Okay.
parents.
that's fun sometimes. Like my mom, she had cancer like 12 years ago, and she wasn't like able. She was going through chemo and all that stuff. She wasn't able to eat. She was feeling like super anxious about the whole thing. So I went to my buddy and I bought her some weed, and I bought her a pipe, and so I gave it to her. I was like, I know that like you don't smoke. She said that she had like smoked once or twice in college. I was like, but this might help you. Give it a shot. And she was like, okay. And then I left. I went back. I think I was in Austin at the time. And I came back to visit her like a month later, and she hadn't touched it. And I was like, so you didn't want to try it? And she's like, I don't know how to smoke. And so I had to teach her.
Tutorial, yeah.
So I had to teach her how to do it. And then so she didn't want to be rude. She was like, do you want to smoke any? And I thought about it, and I was like, that's weird. Like you get. I want you to be on the moon. I want you to be high as fuck, and we'll get some pizzas together.
Yeah.
But I guess like it'd be weird for me to be in that same zone.
There's like an anxiety factor too, where it's like if you're smoking around somebody who's not like a smoker, like you kind of need that buddy to bring you back down to earth. Like, hey, it's cool. Everything's gonna be okay. Like a spotter almost. You know what I'm saying? Like with alcohol, it's not like that. You could be blissed by yourself, and it's all good. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or have you ever been around somebody that smoked, and it's like a group setting or whatever, and somebody says something like wildly out of pocket, and you're like,
Whole vibes change.
yeah, dog, you're a weirdo. Like,
Yeah.
but it's like that's just their inner thoughts, and the filter's gone. You know what I mean? I think
Chicken thing is sort of like that.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm saying.
Pretty
And
extreme
so
version.
like smoking is like a different vibe to where it's like I think you have to really be in a comfortable setting with people who smoke. Like, as I was saying, I don't smoke with people I can't joke with.
Yeah.
So.
I think there's an element of control
Yep.
that people that we like getting high, you lose a sense of control, whereas alcohol just deadens your control so that you don't try to control anything. It lowers your inhibitions where you're not really like trying to control anything when you're drunk, whereas weed, you're sort of you're like flying and you can't control where you're going.
I think you have more control when you're drunk.
Well, it depends. It depends on your experience level. So I think most people have more control when they're drunk because most people drink more than they smoke. But if you smoke way more than you drink, you'd probably be comfortable being around, anybody.
I don't know.
Like, you don't
That's
care.
interesting.
You don't
I
hear of
think-
like weed
yeah.
driving accidents as much. Like drunk driving.
Yeah,
high driving.
I don't mean like impairment controlled. I mean like like there's a filter that you have. I think even when you're drunk, you're still like, I probably shouldn't do that or say that, right? For the most
To a
part.
certain
But
point.
but I think with weed, it's like, I think that's what it is. I think you have an inability to, from my experience anyway. I know people are different. From my experience, like my filter kind of goes away as to like what's socially acceptable, as far as like what I should say, like my inner thoughts versus like what's okay with somebody else. You know, I kind of lose that sense of reality. For me, when I'm drunk, I just tend not to care what you think about what I'm saying. But I think it's still there. I don't know. It's an interesting conversation though.
Do you guys want to do some voicemails?
We got some voicemails.
Large, you down to do some voicemails?
Absolutely.
What a great show. What a great
I had to
show.
jump out. You guys are in here for a while.
Oh, yeah,
I
we
was
go.
listening.
Yeah.
I gotta
By the way, last thing about
pee again.
Japan, Bob the Builder there has 5 fingers, not 4, because they don't want people to think that he's in the mafia. You know how the
Yakuza, yeah.
the Yakuza chop their pinkies off. So if you look at it, Bob the Builder in Japan's got 5 fingers instead of 4.
Oh,
They're probably a more productive worker.
I got one last Japanese thing.
Okay.
There's these indigenous Japanese people who live in the north of Japan that are like a minority there that have been conquered by like the imperial Japanese. They're called the Ainu people, Ainu, and they basically have big beards, and their genetics say that they're from Europe. And they're like they're a hunter-gatherer tribe that worship bears, and the Ainu people had a ritual that would return Kamui, a divine or spiritual being in Ainu mythology, to the spiritual realm. This meant going to a bear den during hibernation and capturing a cub alive and raising it in the village as a child. Women would care for the bear cubs as if they were their children, sometimes even nursing them if needed. Once the bears reached maturity, they would hold another ritual 5 to 10 years later called the Lomante. People from neighboring villages were invited to help celebrate this ritual, where members of the village would send the bear back to the realm of spirits by gathering around the bear in a central area and using a special ceremonial arrow to shoot at the bear. Afterwards, they would eat the meat. It was abolished in 1955, but they just brought it back so they could practice their religion again.
That kind of rocks.
So these guys are we're an indigenous group in this area of Japan, and they say they are more closely related to Central Asian or like European people that were the last of like hunter-gatherers who came all across Asia, who like it's an ancient hunting magic tribe that like is more related to like pre-Christian history. It's like really weird. It's really cool.
I think you and Donnie should make a trip.
Yeah, like to find. I want to see the bear ritual.
Yeah.
But basically, these guys.
You want to do the bear ritual?
Yeah, they've been highly like oppressed by the Japanese government.
You die
Yeah, I die.
trying to get a bear.
Oh, the bear cub.
Yeah. You
Well, they would
fucked
get him
up.
while they were hibernating, so the bear would be asleep.
Oh, that's not even that cool.
Yeah,
It's bear napping.
yeah, they bear napped, but then they would like suckle the bear with.
They
human
got
milk.
some of the most fire fits I've seen. I'm looking at some of these outfits that they have.
They do.
Holy shit, though! I would rock this today.
They're also very closely related to Native Americans. They're like genetics they've been
Oh,
looking
so
at.
they probably went there when there was a land bridge.
Yeah.
Land bridge. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the
Wow.
oceans rose.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hey guys, this is Chris from Baltimore. Just had a question for everybody to see in comparison to the Masters that just happened this past weekend. The pros the person who wins picks a dinner that everybody gets to eat at the Masters dinner. I'm curious to see what everybody would pick as their dish of choice. And you can make like a little macro dosing menu. Everybody picks one thing that, everyone brings to the table. Would be cool to hear. Everybody stay gorgeous, stay handsome. Talk to you guys later.
All right, your Masters champion dinner.
The Macro Masters Champion dinner. I'm easy. Y'all probably Japanese ramen.
Yeah, that's a good
That
choice.
is my ultimate. That's my last meal. My first meal. It's my favorite. I can eat that shit every day.
It is delicious. I would almost say something super spicy that I knew a lot of people couldn't handle, and then that way I would have maybe some people get diarrhea, and not me because I'm used to it. I'm built different, and so then I'd have.
Just put a bunch of probiotic in it.
I've had it. Yeah. Yes. Like all the live cultures, and then I'd be able to compete at a higher level than they could. some gamesmanship. Actually, I would probably ramen's a good choice.
Yeah.
I like that. I would probably also go Asian inspired. I would go dumplings. I would have like a dumpling feast.
I like them.
Yeah. I don't know if what maybe some pork dumplings.
No soup for you, man.
Well, you already took the soup.
It's your
And
dinner.
I'd have soup
It's your-
dumplings.
it's if I win
So
the
there.
Masters, that's what I would eat. This is if you win the Masters.
Soup dumplings would be part of the spread.
Okay.
I thought we were all combining into one.
Like Signs. Have you seen Signs with Mel Gibson?
I've not.
You haven't seen the Alien movie?
It's a good movie.
No.
Well, the aliens invade, and he has all his kids, and they're like all scared, and everybody's like, "What do you want for dinner?" And he just cooks what everybody wants. So it's spaghetti, pancakes, fried chicken, and he just cooks everything. So it was a great reference that you.
What about just a bunch of pizza? Just order a shitload of delivery pizza. That'd be good
Different
too.
companies and shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Do the Trump Clemson dinner.
Yes.
Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Wendy's.
Yeah.
I like it.
Fast food buffet.
That actually sounds good.
That
I
would-
think
yeah.
Scotty Scheffler, he did like, it was like sliders, but they were like gourmet and stuff. Like it was like,
He
you
did
know,
Applebee's.
casual food, but like done up.
He did Applebee's. He turned Augusta into a
Yeah.
giant Applebee's for his dinner, which the dinner looked fantastic. It's like a ribeye steak, sliders.
Firecracker shrimp,
Yeah, firecracker shrimp was on there.
tortilla soup, and then a warm chocolate.
Tortilla soup.
It was literally Chili's. It was the Chili's menu.
Yeah,
Upgraded chilies.
yeah. I mean,
You can't upgrade Chili's.
okay. I'll say
Chili's is the top.
That's it.
I'll say dumplings. Arian says ramen. Big T says I think Big T's on the right track with the
I
Trump
would
spread.
since we're in Augusta, I can get something catered from Atlanta. I would get the chicken tenders from Roasters in Atlanta, Georgia. Great spot if anybody's in town and hasn't been. So I would contribute those.
Oh, I would fly Paula Dean in for the night
Yeah.
and
That'd be a
just
good call.
just load me up with all the butter. Just give me all the butter, Paula.
You guys see this guy? I think Mincy's friendly with him. The red beans and rice guy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I want to go down red beans and rice. He does with like a pork chop or something like that. Look at this motherfucker. That guy.
Mm-hmm.
I love that guy. And I've never had red beans and rice down in like Louisiana like
Oh,
that.
you
It's
haven't.
good.
I'm dying to do
Bomb.
that shit.
Bomb.
And this guy is respect your body. I can't think of the guy's name. It escapes me. But he's awesome, and I'm dying to do that.
Yeah, it's so rich.
Gumbo
Yeah.
from from down there is just fire.
Yeah.
dog.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I'm also dying for Stone Claws. I haven't had Stone Claws in a while, but I'm dying. Like from a Joe's Stone Claws down in Miami.
Crabs are great. I see now. I'm thinking of all the
Soft
other
shells
things.
are in
I
I'm
can
season
say.
hungry.
now.
as shit.
I'm going to stick with dumplings, but I'm thinking about switching to blue crabs, but I'm not going to. Blue
Also,
crab
one more
feast.
thing: the rolls and cornbread from Roasters. Also, but last time I went, Joe, I don't remember if I said this on this podcast or not. They charge like 60 cents per piece of bread now. So
Whoa.
gonna have to splurge, but the rolls and cornbread also.
You just won the Masters. Get all them fucking
Yeah.
rolls.
That's true. Yeah.
Billy, what do you got?
Ribeye and chicken parm.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's good.
The Italian dish.
Yes.
good
Is
choice.
there another chicken parm?
Well, that's what I've never seen them together before.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm just
yeah.
throwing together all my
That's what it
favorites.
I
was
think
like
we're
a-
making an amalgamation.
Let's
Gotcha.
you know what?
type
It's
deal.
like a last meal.
Yeah, let's do tuna sushi too, or like sushi.
Okay,
The crispy rice.
Yeah.
Oh my god, crispy rice with
Let's go.
spicy.
Hell, and
tuna.
pardon my cheesesteaks.
there you go, Billy.
Yeah.
Good job,
No, I'm straight.
Mad Dog.
I do chicken piccata and some angel hair with extra capers.
Okay, it sounds refreshing.
Mm-hmm. I love chicken piccata. And just a fuck ton of free bread. Like Texas Roadhouse
Yeah, the rolls.
rolls with the cinnamon butter.
Mm-hmm. Good choice.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm adding. Everybody gets a motherfucking Oreo cookie milkshake.
Oh hell yeah, milkshake. That's a good addition.
Just everybody, just splurge.
Also, you know what I really like is wedding cake. Why do we only eat it at weddings?
I think it's just cake.
Is
isn't
it a
Just
different
at
cake?
wedding.
Yeah, like you get the yellow cake, you get the white frosting.
Sponge cake.
Yeah,
Buttercream.
I think it's
Buttercream,
just cake,
right?
man.
Yeah, buttercream frosting.
At
So-
weddings.
So you want cake?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should eat cake more.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
We can make that happen.
We should eat cake. And listen, I eat pie all the time. I'm a big pie guy. I fucking love pie. In
Pie
fact,
versus cake
pies
is a
and
good
bats.
conversation.
Should we let them eat cake?
yeah, yeah, we should, Billy.
Let them eat cake.
People should eat more cake. Yes,
I do agree.
If you're out there
like-
complaining about your taxes or minimum wage, just eat cake.
I'm missing this reference.
Marie Antoinette. We should do actually.
Let
we
them
should,
eat cake?
We should do a French Revolution episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that the lady? Okay.
Yeah, she was.
I'd be down.
She was from Austria, I think, and they cut her head off.
People are out of bread, then let them eat cake.
Mm-hmm. She was very out of touch.
It's good logic there.
Yeah, Mackenzie, what's your master's meal?
My brother makes a really good cacio e pepe.
Oh yeah,
So it would be like that, maybe like a
Yeah, spell that
and
shit.
like
What is that?
breaded like chicken or like chicken cutlets.
yeah.
Owa?
Cacio e pepe.
It's like I don't know how to spell it. Yeah.
it's CACIO.
It looks like noodles.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's like spaghetti and sauce. You could do it with any type of pasta.
it's elevated mac and cheese.
It's
is the best
it's
way to
like
put it.
basically just a lot of cheese
Shitload
on
of cheese.
A lot of
pasta.
black pepper.
Yeah.
Yes, black pepper. Yeah.
That's I learned how to make that during the pandemic, and
Mm-hmm.
so I would go out buy like fresh pasta, and then just 4 different types of like hard cheeses, a Parmesan, a Pecorino, a couple others that might have some flavor. You shred up just as much cheese
Yeah.
as you can get onto the cutting board, and then you put the pasta in. You take the pasta out, and then you save.
Shake it all about
you, you save a cup of the pasta water,
Yeah. Starch.
and then you add the cheese to it.
I
You
tap.
develop this huge sauce.
I tap. I'm too hungry. I'm going to eat my food. This is crazy. This is like listening to a waterfall when you need to pee.
Yeah. All right, Billy.
This is nuts.
Have fun eating.
You tap?
I tap.
It,
This has
to
been
be
food torture.
to be
this whole-
fair
this
to
whole
Billy,
segment.
it is dinner time. It's 5:00.
What a
so
baby.
he's very
I'm
hungry.
hungry.
We're
as
gonna be
hell.
done in 5 to 10
Okay,
minutes.
okay.
Baby.
But the description of the food while I'm hungry, it's
Cacio e
like,
pepe. So
yeah,
good.
it's like fucked.
And then Mackenzie, then you take like the chicken cutlet.
See?
No, she's right.
See?
Because then you pound the
Thin.
fuck out of the chicken. Yeah, large nose. You make
Yeah.
it super thin, and you bread it up. You do a wet, dry rub, and then you fry that up. It's so crispy, and then you put it right on top of the cacio e pepe pasta, and then you slice into it, and then you twirl up on the fork some of the fried chicken
He's going in.
with the noodles with all the cheese on it. That's what
You know
I'm talking about.
fettuccine alfredo, and they make it in the cheese wheel.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really awesome.
yeah. I made cacio e pepe lasagna one time too.
Ooh.
Pretty good. Regular lasagna is great. Cacio e pepe was just
Okay,
it was an interesting turn.
Next question. This is food torture
Food is
for a
good.
hungry person. There's someone listening to this like right before their lunch break, and they know exactly what I'm talking about.
They're gonna go to Olive Garden.
Yeah.
You look a
No,
fucking kid.
they'd have to cut this on at early in the morning if they're at this point.
That's
in
true.
the- in the episode.
Yeah.
They'd have to start at what? 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, next one.
Hi, this is Austin out of Indiana, and I had a question for you guys. If you had one album that you were like, hey, you have to listen to this album, what album is it? And also, I just have a teensy-weensy little bit of beef.
Oh, he was mean in the rest of the voicemail. I remember that.
Oh no, let's hear it. Let's
Oh,
hear
let's
it.
hear-
Oh, shit, I forgot.
How mean is it?
It was about Billy.
Oh,
No, let it play.
Let it fly.
Because I genuinely don't understand Discord, and I probably never will. One, Billy, I used to love you, but I genuinely hate you now. When you were talking about Kim and Nickelback for the breakup songs, like, get some culture, bro. Sorry. And Aaron,
Oh, you know what?
I
This
love
guy
you.
can
You're one of my
fuck
favorite
himself.
athletes of all time, and honestly, one of my favorite podcasters of
That's
all
nice.
time now. But
No.
why do you have to argue with everyone about everything? Like, the Miley Cyrus thing, like, really? You can't just be like, okay, yeah, she can have give her one of the greatest of all time. No,
No.
you have to fucking argue everything.
Because that's
Love you guys.
because it's wrong.
You're all beautiful and handsome.
No, I like that guy. I like that guy.
I was surprised that it was Nickelback that made him get
that,
so
that
pissed.
was the straw that broke his.
Yeah, because
like, get some
Nickelback's
culture.
sick.
Yeah, I guess Nickelback's sick.
People somewhere in the Obama administration, Nickelback became like not good, and everyone was like, "Don't listen to Nickelback; it's terrible."
What the fuck are you? What does
It
that
has-
do with Obama? B?
It has nothing to do with Obama, but it was just like in his administration.
It happened under his watch.
Yeah,
Yeah. You had to, the buck
it
stops
was
here.
from 2008 to 2016. Nickelback became like not good, and like I think that the world needs to apologize for Nickelback
It's a-
for the undue like shitting on.
Never
them.
heard
They
a
were saying that
Nickelback
they're
song.
the worst band of all time.
Listen,
like,
I'm-
they had bangers. I listened to Nickelback like with my windows down all the time. It's a really great band.
I'm not a huge Nickelback fan, but I'm not going to talk shit on them. They're a very successful band. They've written some good songs, and they've got a massive audience. So like, more power to you if you like Nickelback. But what it was, it has to do with the way that we communicate with each other on the internet. And at a certain point, it becomes cool to hate on things that are mainstream popular. And so then it becomes a hive mind where some cool person starts hating on Nickelback, and then everyone's like, "Oh yeah, this is so fun to be different and to hate on something that's widely like got mass appeal." And then they feel special because they're like, "I don't like Nickelback. I'm so edgy." And then more people copy those people, and then there's a backlash to it. Same thing happened with Guy Fieri. Guy Fieri, people started to hate him for no real reason whatsoever, and all he's done is just tried to entertain people
He
and
just
teach
brought
people about
flavor.
food.
He
He's brought
just hit
yeah.
people in the face
I
with
think of
flavor.
he had too much flavor. It's Nickelback and Guy Fieri both just had too much seasoning.
I think the bigger example for that is LeBron. Nah, bro.
No, you're off base on this one.
LeBron was one of the most hated cats ever, and there's no real reason to hate him.
There's plenty of reason to.
Give him to me.
He
Okay.
beat a lot of teams.
He does just make stuff up all the time
Yeah,
for
he-
no reason.
Like what?
He lies a lot.
We love Billy though.
Yeah, it's true. We do love Billy.
Nah, there's no.
LeBron's very corny. Yes, Aaron.
Yeah,
don't.
but that's not a reason to like root for his failure.
It's fun sometimes to see him fail.
You want to do hood rat shit with your friends?
Yeah, I mean, you remember when he made that 3 in the playoffs a couple years ago? I think it was the playoffs, and he was like, "Yeah, I was seeing 3 rims, so I just aimed for the one in the middle." Like, come on, LeBron, really? When he got into deep reading for a while and he read like the first page.
Okay, that shit was so bothersome.
Yeah.
Just read the book. Like he was like for like 2 weeks straight.
That's some of the stuff he makes up.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. LeBron is
Okay, I take it
objectively
back, I take it back.
LeBron's the best basketball player to ever play the game.
Ooh, now that is a hot.
He is. I mean, you can make an argument
I would agree with you.
when it comes to like MJ and LeBron and Kareem and
Yeah.
Wilt. You can make arguments for a lot of people,
Yeah.
but LeBron is the best basketball player,
Yeah.
strictly from like his ability to do shit that nobody else could possibly do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to like hate on him, and it doesn't mean that I'm not going to like laugh at him and make fun of him, because I'm definitely going to do all those things. But
The funniest part he said about that whole Malcolm X show, he was like, he was a very powerful Negro. Or no, they say he's a powerful man who talked about the Negro. And I was like, why are you talking like it's in the 60s, yo? He talking about like, we're presently not Negroes.
yeah,
That was funny as shit. yo.
yeah. See, it's fun. Like you can laugh at. The stupid shit that he
I
does.
take it back. I understand. Okay,
But
I don't know Nickelback enough, so I was trying to like
Yeah,
bring it
LeBron
to my
and
world.
Nickelback.
Rockstar. I'm
You're
through
not-
it,
you're not gonna
standing
get
at
through it.
lines.
Look at this photograph.
Clubs I'll never get in. It's like the bottom of the ninth.
This is how you remind me of what I really am.
Definitely haven't
Wait,
heard
it's
that
in my
one.
recently played.
Nah,
Sure
no,
it
you're gonna
is.
get us banned.
So the question was, what album would you play to somebody?
Oh shit. No, it's what
Nickelback.
Yes.
Nickelback
It was
best
like,
hits.
what album would you tell
If
somebody
you
like
could only listen to one album, I thought that's what it was.
No, it's like if you want to
something
introduce
like that? Yeah.
Like
Oh.
what is the perfect album in your mind?
Pre-Nazi Kanye. I'm going with yeah. I'm gonna go with either Graduation or Late Registration.
Yeah,
He does have hits.
You know what I loved is my daughter's little friend group. They're like into this retro shit, and to them retro is Kanye.
yeah.
But like old Kanye, and so she starts playing old Kanye. I'm like, this is on my current playlist. What is this? She's like, we love. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah,
I mean,
we got
those
old
albums are
fast.
from like almost 20 years
Just
ago now.
calm the shit down, Big T.
Yeah.
Just calm it down.
I think
Those are like what, 04,
Just
05?
relax, though.
I think College Dropout was what, 2002, 2003.
Y'all are bugging. Whatever,
Yeah.
wee man.
I would say Rage Against the Machine self-titled is almost a perfect album.
I need to dig into their album because I didn't know how left they were.
Oh yeah,
I had
communists.
no idea. Yeah, I had no. But like
The name didn't give that away?
Yeah.
I mean, that was edgy back when we were growing up. It was like anti-authority was kind of popular, but they're not only like they're like educated leftists, and I love that.
I like when people get mad at Tom Morello online. It's like, I liked Rage before you guys got all political.
Yeah, and that's all their catalog has been about. I read up on that article that came out, but I just had never gave them any.
Listen to the self-titled album. It's the one that has the monk on the cover that set himself on fire.
Yeah. You see, that's political as shit.
Yeah, that's a great album.
Today's gonna be Rage Against the Machine day. All day.
All
I'm
right.
gonna go to ramen today and listen to Rage Against the Machine.
Bomb Track. I think Bomb Track.
That
my
might
favorite
cause
song.
indigestion.
What?
Listening to Rage Against the Machine while eating ramen.
Yeah, it could.
I'm not gonna let him get away with that joke.
It wasn't a joke.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
You actually might get indigestion.
Okay.
I would also say Sublime, almost a perfect album, and
They've done one of the only. I'm sorry, I cut you off, but they've done one of the only renditions of "Summertime" that I've loved.
yeah,
"Summertime,"
yep,
Sublime. That was
Living's easy.
yeah. They killed that shit.
It was good. Forrest Gump soundtrack, pretty good. I know soundtracks probably don't count, but that's just the 60s and 70s.
Best era music in my opinion.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I don't know if it's necessarily like the perfect album or whatever, but like my favorite album is probably The Foundation, Zac Brown Band's first album. Great songs on there.
I'll have to give that a listen.
That's like Chicken Fried,
Okay.
Highway 20 Ride, I believe, is on that album. Very sad song, but very good. Toes. Y'all would know that song if you heard it. Just good songs on that album.
Billy, Large.
Nickelback's greatest hits.
Okay.
Just really pissed off Austin from Indiana.
I'd go Eric B. and Rakim Paid in Full. It was 1987. I'm wondering how people would like Rakim's voice now, thinking about how rap is and whatnot. I'd wonder, because that was one of the perfect rap albums when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I was 87, so I was 16, so it was like school in Lower East Side. It was the shit back then, and it holds up, and it's got 7 fucking bangers on it. That's a lot for an album.
I think people don't really understand like Rakim and how ahead of the curve he was.
One of the greatest voices in hip hop.
I think Jay-Z said it the best. He was like, in talking about Rakim, he was like, in every era there was always like a rival, and everybody was like catching up and doing what they were doing. He was like, but Rakim, there was nobody else. He was doing stuff like before, and he set the precedent years in advance before anybody could catch him.
Yeah.
And he gets forgotten. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, you're big. Like, people even think that the singer is Eric B. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The DJ, like, they don't even realize, give enough respect to the actual
I think
MC.
that's because he was in the era of rap where it was right before it got commercialized, and so it was hip hop in the era of we're actually against the system, and then the Biggie Pac era was like we are the system, and so it flipped on its head, and so now it's part of the problem. But he was like Public Enemy type vibes, like
Yeah, great album.
yeah.
Paid in Full.
Mad Dog. Harry Styles.
Yes, but no.
One Direction.
Also yes, but no. But I would probably choose, if I had to like show to someone, Lumineer self-titled or Noah Kahan's Stick Season. Very, very good. But also if I'm like showing someone to be like proving One Direction is a really good band, actually One Direction 4, which was our Tune in the Dozen. I talked about it on the Dozen. But yes.
All right. Mackenzie.
I'm like really bad with music. I don't even know if I could like name the title of an album. like I can, but I have like bad taste in music. Like I'm One Direction type person too.
I've never heard anybody say they have a bad taste in music.
Well, like it's just very basic. Like I don't know. I guess you can't really have a bad taste in music because it's just like your opinion.
Yeah, it's subjective.
So I don't know. I really like Quinn 92. But again, like an album couldn't even name
You're
it.
not like into music like that.
No, yeah.
I've met one other of you.
Oh, what? One other?
Yeah, well, he's great. His name is Andre Johnson. And he just like doesn't really listen to music. Like he'll listen.
I
if
listen
it's
to
I'm like, Yo,
it.
who's your favorite artist? He was like, I don't really.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah.
I'm like, what
I
do
don't
you
like
mean?
music.
Yeah, I was
That's
like,
such a
what
weird
do you
thing to
think?
say.
It's wild.
No, I do, but like I'm just not.
Not into it.
Yeah,
you
I
the
don't
type.
know.
You the type to listen to your whole. You listen to shit on shuffle, huh?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And I listen to like the same song. Like if I really like a song, I'll listen to it like 100
I can
times.
do that too.
And then I get really sick of it, and then I have to move on to like a new song.
Damn.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm so bad with music. I definitely do listen to it, but
Shout out to you for listening to music.
but I'm definitely like a One Direction, like Justin Bieber type girl. Like
Got you.
that's what I would say.
Beethoven. Also listen to some of his early stuff. He's put out some bangers. His fifth. Doesn't get much better than that. All right.
What an episode.
Good show. Good show. We'll see you guys next week. Large, thank you for joining us.
My guy.
We appreciate it. Go listen to, subscribe to Twisted History with Large and Vibs for more of Large's takes. I think that next week is going to be a fantastic series of shows, hopefully. We just put out a tweet from Barstool Sports. Draft Day is Kevin Costner's worst sports movie. And then Arian's about to just tweet out shit take.
Yeah. So
I love that movie.
Yeah,
whoever said
Arian's
that.
one of the stars.
Yeah. Got robbed.
All right, Billy's going to go eat,
Yeah.
most importantly.
Peace.
All right, see you guys. See you next week. Love you guys.